Bruv, the game ain't hard when you got the trump card. It's all rigged and I'm calling more games than Bob Uecker. Changing the outcomes like Duke Nukem to a new future. Win some, lose some, bag some, choose none. Will the aliens come save the day? Are we going to listen to what they say? The uranium, cranium, aliens popping up like circadians. Got me spontaneously training in the Palladium gymnasium. Ultimate battle in the extraterrestrial stadium. It really just be the Mediterranean and Sylvanians. Bloodlines, overtime, dragon descendants. Scripting bread and circus lizards in attendance. Serpent queens, breaking dreams, dragging me down. The underworld royalty is all about how much you can clown. I'm talking about the number 9-2. If you didn't know, well now you do.
Welcome back, everybody.
What's in the hearse? I am who I am. Man with a plan, where you at with the rebellion. 1 in a million, us against a billionaire reptilians. Look at the word rebellion, spells out the same as the rebel lion. Ain't even trying, ain't living, you're dying. Well done to the skeleton. No time for the rebellion. Strawman led.
Can you guys hear me okay? Mic check.
Waiting for the aliens. Problem, reaction, solution, little contribution. The script tells that they cast spells like nuclear fusion, spreading confusion, lie distribution. Old as hell, ain't even some new shit.
Will the radium, cranium, aliens popping up like circadians. Got me spontaneously training in the Palladium gymnasium. Ultimate battle in the extraterrestrial stadium. It really just be
Thank you, Maggie. Best night of the week.
The uranium, cranium, aliens popping up like circadians. Got me spontaneously training in the Palladium gymnasium. Ultimate battle in the extraterrestrial stadium. It really just be the Mediterranean Transylvanians. Will the aliens come save the day? Are we gonna listen to what they say?
Welcome back, ballers, to another episode of Eye to Eye with AJ, Rambo, and Cody. Still waiting for Cody to jump on later tonight, hopefully, if he can make it. But either way, we also got the one, the only Rambo in the house. Rambo, can you hear me okay, my friend?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Fantastic. We'll dive right into it. Quick intros. My name is AJ, Balll Don't Lie, 3 L's in Ball. You guys can find all of my work where we're streaming from tonight on YouTube, as well as on Instagram at Balll Don't Lie, 3 L's in Ball. Feel free to send me an email as well at wordplaybook, 3 O's in book at gmail.com. If you guys are interested in getting your hands on any of the books that I've written over the years. Also working on a few other projects as we speak, so more to come on that. Also have a Patreon. For those that are interested in sports leans, that is patreon.com/onthemoneyball. Rambo, you have the floor, my friend. Please let folks know where they can find you and support you.
Yes, I can be found at patreon.com/thetruthcodes. There's only one tier, $5 a month. There's also, you can join for free. There's free content as well. I put some things up as well for free. And also, if you join for free, you can see a lot of past archived video. Thank you, Susan. A lot of archived videos from the past are available for free. So even if you join for free, you can see a lot of old videos that maybe you didn't see when they first came out. So there's that archive and some free content. You can join for free, absolutely. But $5 is the only tier for a month, and you have access to the Codebreaker community Discord server, where the very brilliant patrons, of whom I am very, very thankful, they have brilliant decodes. They share them on Discord. Discord is good for sharing because you can upload videos and links to videos and images, apart from just a comment section where it's just writing. So Discord is a good place to share decodes, and you can see the brilliant decodes from the community on the Discord server, which comes with the $5 a month. And I'm also at Instagram.com/thetruthcodes.
We appreciate you, Rambo, as always. I know a lot of folks are very familiar with your work, so appreciate you taking the time to let people know where they can find you. You heard that correctly, you guys. It's $5 a month, not a day, not a week. And it is for all of Rambo's content, and he also has a free tier. So at the very least, make sure that you guys sign up for his free tier. He is kind enough to put out content on that particular tier as well. So without further ado, Rambo, I know that you kind of have a little taster for us this week. I think it's a short video you'd like to kick things off with tonight.
It's an intro video to my latest video. It's a 2-minute intro, and the full decode is 20 minutes, and the full decode is available to paying patrons. But this is the intro.
Awesome.
All right.
Because the current 2026 FIFA World
So can you hear it?
I can hear it, Rambo.
Okay,
We're good.
Just make it.
mirrors the World Cup that was hosted by South Africa in 2010. The 2010 World Cup's opening game was on June the 11th between hosts South Africa and Mexico. The 2026 World Cup's opening game was on June the 11th between co-hosts Mexico and South Africa. On June 13th, 2026, during the World Cup, a woman in Brazil, Maria Eduarda Rodrigues de Freitas, was thrown off of an abandoned bridge named the Skeleton Bridge in what is being reported as a bungee jumping accident. This was the 16th anniversary of June 13th, 2010, during the World Cup in South Africa, where an American teenager is reported to have fallen to his death off of Table Mountain, specifically at Skeleton Gorge. June 13th, 2026, Brazil, Skeleton Bridge, fall. June 13th, 2010, South Africa, Skeleton Gorge, fall. Coincidence? If so, what are the odds?
Yeah, that's an awesome intro video, Rambo. Seriously, that name of the Skeleton Bridge always did kind of stand out to me when that first, when that story first broke. But yeah, I had no idea about the Skeleton Gorge incident back in 2010.
So the thing about the Skeleton Gorge incident is that it happened on the same date. It was June 13th.
Right.
It was at the World Cup. And there's that synchronicity between the two World Cups. The 2010 World Cup was hosted by South Africa, and the opening game was South Africa versus Mexico. The 2026 World Cup, and it started on June 11th. So the 2010 South Africa World Cup starts on June 11th. Opening game is South Africa versus Mexico. The 2026 World Cup starts on June 11th, and the opening game is South Africa versus Mexico. The only difference is that Mexico is the host this time. When South Africa was the host, they hosted Mexico in the opening game. Mexico as a hosts South Africa in the opening game, both of them on June 11th. And 2 days later, in both instances, on June 13th, there's a fall. There's a fall in Brazil in 2026 on June 13th. There's a fall in South Africa on June 13th as well. And the clincher there is both of the locations of the fall were called Skeleton. Skeleton Gorge in South Africa and Skeleton Bridge in Brazil.
And Rambo, it has me thinking about the story that you touched on. I think it was last year. That's unless time has really flown by, of the fan that fell in Major League Baseball.
That was
during That was
Yes.
during a Pirates game, right? Back on April 30th of 2025.
Yeah, that was last season.
Yeah,
No.
you see where I'm going with this, right? Like the falling story. It wasn't, the same day, June 13th, but it has that skeleton connection, I guess is what I'm getting at with the Pirates logo.
Yeah. Yeah, Pirates.
Skull and Bones, essentially, like the Pirates' connections to Skull and Bones.
Yes, that is connected. Absolutely. That was a really big incident, the one at the Pirates game. And yes, there's the Pirates Skull and Bones connection. But that one was really big, and I've made multiple mentions about the one that happened in Pittsburgh. I can look it up actually now. The name is Kavan Markwood.
Yeah, because you've touched on too that he threw out the opening pitch once he, quote, recovered, right, from this fall.
Yeah, and he remarkably. Now here's I just realized there's another synchronicity. So, the woman who fell from Brazil, I'm sure this is a big part of it. She was 21 years old, but this fan, Kavan Markwood, he fell from a 21-foot wall, and the fact that 21 is actually at the scene of the fall. You can see the number 21. I see it here. I don't know if you can see it here. You see the 21 there?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
No, this isn't gonna. Yeah, but yeah, you can see that.
I'm pretty sure that's what the. Yeah, go ahead.
That is Roberto Clemente's number. Roberto Clemente, who was an all-time great for the Pittsburgh Pirates. This wall was dedicated to him because he wore number 21. And it's just so it is so interesting. I need to look more into it. Why is 21 so central to this? Because the lady who fell in Brazil was 21. Woman 21 plummets 131 feet to her death after bungee jump staff allegedly forgot to attach cord. So 21 is part of that.
Well, and for what it's worth, Rambo, Brazil just won their match yesterday on Monday.
Yes.
Right, on Oliver Tree's birthday with a score of 2-1.
Yep.
There's
a lot of 2-1 going around. I suspect that the score at the final will be 2-1. I think whoever wins it will win 2-1 because I'm just seeing 2-1 everywhere. But
yeah. Hey, yeah, Cody.
So, oh, he's here. Okay, good. But so this ties in perfectly with the 21 again. I have to kind of figure. So these are all falling angels rituals. That's what they are, fallen angels rituals, which ties in to what is happening now. So fallen angels can mean many different things. It does actually tie into the Brazil game, as I'll show later. Because the fallen angels can be different things. People can say Lucifer. It can also tie into the ancient aliens hypothesis or theory, which, I mean, people can decide what they feel on that issue. People have different issues on the UFO thing. The game changer is in 2026, when the authority, the government of the United States, one of the world authorities, say that they exist and say they have proof that they exist, say that they have live bodies of 4 different species. That is the official position of the United States government, and that they have possession of their craft. See, that's a game changer. If it's one thing to speculate on it, and for the last 80 years, the United States government has said that if you believe that, you're a conspiracy theorist. And they've spent 80 years basically asserting that it's ridiculous. The idea that intelligent life, more intelligent than human beings, exist is ridiculous. Now, whether you believe they exist or not, or whether, even if you think the government's lying, well, you think they were telling the truth for 80 years. So either way, you can't. This is just thrown everything on its head. Everything. There's nothing that this issue doesn't touch. So even if you're in the even if you're in the quote unquote, I hate to use this, but lack of a better term. Okay, you can say truth community or conspiracy realm, because that's what it was relegated to, the conspiracy realm. Well, even within that so-called conspiracy realm truther movement, not everybody thinks that aliens exist or extraterrestrials exist. So there's a conflict there. And in that community, you pretty much don't believe the government, the authority, which more often than not lies and deceives. But even then, you're in a quandary. So if the U.S. government, the authority, lies and deceives, which it does, what are they lying and deceiving? Are they lying and deceiving about the existence of intelligent ETs? Well, if they are lying about this, that means they were telling the truth for 80 years, that they didn't exist. Or were they lying when they said that they didn't exist, and now they're telling the truth? See, when they contradict themselves, they're either at one point they had to have been telling the truth. Either they were telling the truth for 80 years, or they're telling the truth now. But the big question is why they're changing. Nonetheless, this fallen angels rituals that you're seeing, and Kobe Bryant is a fallen angels ritual as well. He played for the Los Angeles Lakers. Los Angeles is Spanish. Los Angeles, the Angels. And where was the movie Angels in the Outfield first filmed?
And there was also a movie called Angel Has Fallen, which released on Kobe's last living birthday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you don't remember that one?
Angel Has Fallen? No, I didn't know about that one.
But, yeah, we'll bring that up after.
Yeah, so this movie, Angels in the Outfield, and where did he fell? He fell in the outfield. This is a fallen angels ritual. The movie Angels in the Outfield, which it had a modern day, which is more a better known remake, which took place at the home of the California Angels. But the original Angels in the Outfield, 1951, American sports comedy film produced and directed by Clarence Brown and starring Paul Douglas and Janet Leigh, based on a story by Richard Conlin. The film is about a young woman reporter who blames the Pittsburgh Pirates losing streak on the map. So it took place at Forbes Field. See, with baseball's Pittsburgh Pirates in last place, their combative foul-mouthed manager, Gary McGuff, is upset. So this took place in Forbes Field, which at the time was home of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And that's where it was filmed. And you can see why. You see why they would do a Fallen Angels ritual at the home of the Pittsburgh Pirates, because that is this is a new stadium, not the same location, but still the team. It's the home stadium of the team, which is the center of Angels in the Outfield. So he falls out of the outfield. This is about fallen angels, and fallen angels are also you could say a metaphor for extraterrestrials who they've usually been shot down when they come to Earth. Extraterrestrials are fallen angels. And that's why you see a lot of this at the time that they're doing the disclosure. Look at location. Filming in Pittsburgh occurred in the spring 1951 with many action shots filmed at Forbes Field. So Forbes Field, that's where the original home of the Pittsburgh Pirates from June 28th. So yeah, we just passed the anniversary of when it was founded. Another interesting fact is that the Pittsburgh Steelers National Football League team used to be called the Pittsburgh Pirates. So Pittsburgh, and they played at Forbes Field as well. So Forbes Field was home to two teams, the Major League Baseball team and the I don't know if it was the NFL team or AFL, but the professional football team, both were called the Pittsburgh Pirates. And then the Pittsburgh Pirates later changed their name to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so what's important here is the location of Forbes Field, which is in the Oakland neighborhood. They call it the Oakland Orchard. It's in Oakland, which is a neighborhood. Forbes Field was a baseball park in the Oakland neighborhood of Pittsburgh. Oakland, Pittsburgh. That's important because Kevon Markwood, he eventually would throw out the first pitch that same like 5 months later in the same season he recovered after falling 21 feet.
Rambo, if I can also just add in the remake of Angels in the Outfield, from my understanding, last I checked, a lot of the filming, even though it takes place, in Southern California for the California Angels, a lot of the filming, at least the stadium scenes, actually took place, I believe it was in Oakland. Like where the A's the A's used to play. Yeah. The filming for the remake of Angels in the Outfield, the one about the California Angels.
Yeah.
The filming was actually in Oakland, which you were just pointing out. And once again, Bernardo Suarez, as I mentioned earlier, Angel Has Fallen. Yeah, it was released on Kobe's last living birthday. So we can bring that up in a second. But yeah, so now you're getting to when he pitched after recovering from falling.
Yeah, so he fell 21 feet, but here he is 5 months later in the same season throwing out the first pitch. What is significant here? Pirates fan who fell from the stands throws out first pitch. Kevon Markwood, the Pirates fan who fell 21 feet from his onto the warning track at PNC Park earlier this year, threw out the ceremonial first pitch at Saturday's game. They're not telling you who they played in Saturday's game, which I was hoping they would, to make my point. You'd think they'd say that, right? In an article about him throwing out the first pitch. They're not telling you who they did it against. Yeah. So it's amazing. This is amazing. Cubs game, PNC Park, April 30th. He fell on April 30th. We talked about that. Fallen Angel, Lucifer, Church of Satan. April 30th. Doctors suffered, including, but given. Well, here he is. Oh, here we go. Markwood took a large step in his recovery Saturday, throwing out the first pitch before a game against the Athletics against Oakland. Why do you think they chose the Oakland Athletics to have him throw out the first pitch? Because the original Pirates home stadium was in Oakland. And why, which is Forbes Field, but why that's even more significant is because that is where Angels in the Outfield was filmed, which confirms that this was a fallen Angels ritual.
Yeah, Rambo, really quick, would you mind just typing in Angels in the Outfield remake film locations, something like that? I just want you to be able to see.
I can go to the Wikipedia page, and that'll probably be on the.
Sure. Yeah. I just want to make sure that if I need to be, I'm stood corrected. But I'm pretty sure the remake. Yeah, this one. They did film.
In July 1993, Caravan Pictures reached an agreement. Director William Deere. That's Deere. That's unlike the original Pittsburgh Pirates. Unlike the original, as a team in heavenly need of California, did not exist when the original release. In addition to coincidence, the Walt Disney Company was a minority owner of the Angels. The film did, however, premiere at the Pirates' home stadium at the time, Three Rivers Stadium. Oh, so this movie actually did have Pittsburgh in it, even the modern one. The 1993 one actually was in Pittsburgh Pirates Three Rivers Stadium, I guess, as homage. But they don't go any further into the production part. So
yeah, I mean, at least on Wikipedia. But anyways, we don't need to spend too much time on it.
So what do you say was?
Yeah, Angels in the Outfield filming locations. Yeah, 94. Yeah, there you go. See, like utilizing the Oakland Alameda County. See at the very top there, it says it was filmed primarily in California, utilizing the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum in Oakland. So there you go. So there's that other connection there with the remake, Angels in the Outfield. And really quick, Cody, I just want to make sure that you can hear us, and I think this is a good opportunity to kind of plug you in here for a second, because Cody, you've done your own Angels in the Outfield stuff as of lately, especially when we recently had the death of Garrett Anderson, who was an outfielder for the Angels. But then also there was a game where an outfielder for the Angels currently had like 3 big catches in a row or something like that during one of the games.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, hey Cody.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep.
Yeah, so there was, if I remember right, there was a guy that caught 3 home run balls, I think, or he robbed 3 home runs in one game, and then he did something else as well. This guy, what was his name? I can't remember his name, but yeah, there was just recently he just did that, and there was a whole Fallen Angels thing, but also like an Apollyon theme, Angel of the Bottomless Pit. Also, there was kind of that vibe going on. I don't remember the whole decode, but they definitely the Anaheim Angels definitely being used this year for sure during that time. But yeah, the Kobe thing, I had known about that movie, that Angel Has Fallen, coming out on his birthday, and I've covered it a few times, but I've always looked into that with the airplane crash stuff, and also because I think it's actually about the White House, isn't it? Is it not?
I never saw it.
I can't remember or is it White House Down? Because there's a White House Down, there's Angel Has Fallen. I think it's all kind of part of the same thing, but the reason I'm mentioning that is because there is this plane crash riddle going on with the World Cup right now. So, as I mentioned in one of my last videos, it's the fact that Brazil and Morocco just won on the same day. I had pointed out that, the first airplane trip by a president was stopped in Brazil, which ended up in Morocco. So and then Trump got that Qatar plane on my birthday, actually. He unveiled the Qatar plane on my birthday, actually, and then Qatar and Switzerland had just played, and then Switzerland is where he flew back from right before he got the plane, where he unveiled it. So and there's this whole riddle with airplanes and fallen angels, and of course Kobe, and that's why I think that's why Oliver Tree died on his birthday. So, but yeah, and then the whole thing with what I was talking about, considering that, I was completely wrong about Netherlands, but they fell on Oliver Tree's birthday. So Oliver Tree fell on their birthday, and they fell on Oliver Tree's, well, not their birthday, but Oliver Tree fell on the day they played on Trump's birthday. That was their first game. And then they fell on his birthday. So, and then also Japan and I didn't know this, but I believe the group F, if I'm not mistaken, I need to look this up, but somebody told me group F, which is what Japan, Netherlands, and Sweden were in, is called the group of death. If that's true, it actually explains everything, because that would mean the woman who died right before Group F played their first game, which would have been the day before, and on Trump's birthday, Group F was Japan and Netherlands. And I don't know if that's true. I need to look it up. But if it is true, it would kind of just make sense. And it kind of brings to light the whole thing with Oliver Tree dying on that day, and then Shakira's song being the Die Die, which is a bitter orange, which is a Japanese bitter orange, and now that's why the Orange Men played Japan on Trump's birthday, and now both of them died kind of on the same day, I guess. And Sweden lost too, I think, today. I'm not sure about that. I thought I saw that.
Yeah, Sweden lost to France. There are actually two groups of death. So a group of death, what a group of death means in soccer is a group where there are, so they're all broken up into groups of 4 who play each other. For people who are not familiar, it's groups of 4 initially. Everybody plays each other one game, so everybody's guaranteed 3 games. And then the top 2 qualify for the knockout round. So initially it's not a knockout round. You play the teams in your group 3 games, and the ones that finish at the bottom are eliminated. The group of death is a group where at least 3 very strong teams are grouped together. That's why they call it the group of death. And the reason you always get groups of death, so groups of death should be avoided because if you seed teams, of course, you don't want 2 strong teams, 2 of the best teams in the world playing each other in the group stage. You want to spread them out because that means you'll have 2 of the weaker teams in the same group as well. Then you'll have a weak group. They're supposed to be seeded. The reason you end up with a group of death is because there's an unwritten rule, and it's an obvious rule. Everybody knows it. The home teams always get an easy group. That's just a rule in soccer. It's always happened. You can always look it up. They do the draws. I mean, it's easy to do. There are magician tricks which are much more complicated. So staging a live draw, which they do for the World Cup, is really easy to fix. Home teams always get an easy group. So what that means is if you get a large number of weak teams in one group, which they do for the home team, and this year they have 3 home teams, inevitably you have other groups where strong teams are clustered together. It's uneven, and the groups with the strong teams in them disproportionately are called the group of death. And this year, so the main group that had that title was Group I, which is France, Norway, and Senegal, because Senegal are African champions and they were a dark horse team. I mean, they still who are they playing? I forgot who they're playing, but they're a dark horse team, and they actually all 3 of these teams actually got through. But France is the favorite. Norway is super talented, a dark horse capable of winning it, and Senegal, who are African champions, they're very capable as well. So this is the group of death, but the group that KODI's talk about is all. So when you put a group of death, this is the one you typically get, but the one that KODI's referring to also is. See, typically this is the one, like even AI says it's Group I, France, Norway, Senegal, but it's the same for the group that Norway, that KODI's referring to. That is also a group of death. There are 2 groups of death, you could say. There were 2 of them.
Yeah, that's why I was unfamiliar with somebody that had written that, so I didn't know what exactly that meant. But yeah, that makes sense. And it's funny that all 3 of F are out immediately. And somebody is Bernardo Suarez. Shout out to Bernardo Suarez. He's the one that brought us that
Snake Eyes
thing way back when. But shout
out
to him,
Bernardo.
He says no team came out of the Group F ever won the World Cup. I guess I'd have to check that too, but I'm sure he's right. But that makes, I mean, that's all 3 teams from Group F are already gone, like immediately. Like there was 3 teams to move through, but all 3 are gone within the first 2 days, I guess.
So this is what I was referring to. The Fox 5 headlines. What I was saying. What is the 2026 World Cup group of death? 2 groups stand above the rest. So it's not just 1, it's 2. Is Group I, is it Group L? Is that, what's the, France, Senegal, Norway, Iraq. So Iraq is not, it's 3. Oh, they're giving a different one. So, okay, so it's debatable then, because now they're saying England, Croatia, Ghana, and Panama, which I disagree on that. I disagree. No. Croatia.
Is it just showing I and L, though?
Yeah, it's just.
So they're saying that groups I and L.
Yeah, it's not L. Like. I mean, anyone who knows soccer knows that Group L is not a group of death. Ghana did not cover themselves in glory. They've overachieved already. They should have beaten England. The worst call, one of the worst calls in the history of sports, prevented Ghana from beating England. So that's why you got to wonder if your money on England is good, because they were not going to let England lose. The worst call in the history of soccer. The only NFL call that I would compare to this game where Ghana upset England, I'm besides, I don't want to get off the point, but the fact is Ghana they were not expected, they're a big underdog, were not expected to compete, were not expected to reach the second round, but they were robbed against England. The worst call, like across the board, every single English fan says yes. That was a blatant penalty, and we got away with it. It's another call they got where their goalkeeper came out of the box and he's like a linebacker or like a cornerback taking out like a linebacker taking out a tight end in the middle of the field. That's what he was like, honestly. The England goalkeeper, they call a foul of the Ghana player. Anyway, not to get off track, that would have been an upset, but it wasn't because not a lot was expected of Ghana. Not a lot is expected of Panama. And Croatia are good. They play good football, but they're not in their prime, but they still play good football. This is not the group of death. It's anyone who knows soccer, L is not the group of death. It is the group that Cody's talking about.
I mean, Japan almost beat Brazil and tied Netherlands, and then I think Japan could have beaten. They almost beat Brazil. They were up 1-0. So, but again, like it feels like in Sweden, Sweden, it was they had won 5-1 over. They beat a team 5-1.
Yeah, Tunisia they beat. Yeah.
So they definitely, and I know they have a couple of good goal scorers. I mean, like I said, I'm just learning about all these players and teams, but it seems that was a pretty strong group in general.
No, you're right. That is a group of death. That is, I don't know. I guess the Fox people, I think, to be honest, don't know soccer. Nobody who knows soccer would give that other group as a group of death. But you're right. That is a group of death. The one you're describing, Japan, Netherlands, and Sweden. Yes, that is the other group of death.
Yeah, and so I think that, and it's funny because the bitter orange stuff with Shakira and the oranges, in The Godfather. Well, and remember, this group of F played on Trump's birthday. So The Godfather, the Don, is in that movie, of course, but a symbol in that movie is the oranges, and every time you see an orange, like a thing of oranges in those movies, it's called it's basically a sign of death is coming. Someone's about to die. So just kind of a clear oversight on my part on the oranges actually being very negative in general. Even Ivory Coast lost yesterday. So it's very bitter for orange teams. I think that's kind of what this bitter orange Shakira song was all about. What that means for the actual eventual winner, I don't know, but it is interesting. But yeah, the death thing also, going with the group of death, the death in The Godfather. I need to look more into The Godfather stuff, honestly, because I think there really is probably a bigger riddle there with Trump. And now, the Morocco will be playing on the 4th of July. And in a little bit, I'll go over quickly what I shared earlier, but it was Morocco or it was Brazil who won the 1994 World Cup 32 years ago. And the teams that played on July 4th that year was the Netherlands and Brazil. And of course, Netherlands lost to Brazil that year, 3-2. And then Brazil would go on to win the World Cup in penalties, 3-2. And what just happened yesterday, or I guess, yesterday, Brazil won, and then Netherlands lost in penalties, 3-2. So it's all perfectly scripted with the 1994. This 32 is huge, and as I mentioned earlier, the serious stuff, as Rambo was talking about all week last week, is really the key theme here. Because serious number is 32 is a huge number with serious. That's one of his gematria values, and this whole 32 group thing is just a huge tribute to Sirius and Brazil in general, I think.
Yeah, they have for every single game, the players walk out to the song Sirius. And that was the kicker. That was the clincher. Like, I didn't even imagine that. I couldn't have made that up. Like, I couldn't believe it. I thought when I heard it for the opening game, I was astonished. But then I didn't realize it's for every single game. I've been talking about Sirius and its significance and Michael Jordan's attachment to Sirius and how this World Cup is lined up with Michael Jordan's. The 23rd World Cup, the country of Jordan's, their very first World Cup. I talked about that. I never imagined that they would actually use Sirius, which became the Chicago Bulls anthem, for this World Cup. I didn't even imagine. So, yeah, clearly it's undeniable. As far as how that predicts the winner, it's debatable, but you can see the obvious direct team you talked about last week, Brazil, because they wear Air Jordan, which is invisible in soccer. This is not like, oh, they wear Nike. Yeah, well, a bunch of soccer teams wear Nike. Air Jordan is invisible in soccer. Invisible.
Rambo, did you happen to see? It was something that went kind of viral, I guess, during the World Cup. There was a fan during one of the Jordan games, and it had Michael Jordan on the poster. Did you happen to?
I didn't see that. No.
To see that it was some. Hold on a second. I think I still have the. I might still have the photo. Yeah, like if you want to Google it, you can. But it's a fan. I think it's the Jordan Argentina game, and he's holding up a sign with Michael Jordan wearing a Country of Jordan jersey, and then it says, "Sorry, Michael, we were Jordan first." So, I mean, could just be a funny sign to put out there, but it's just another example of all these crazy Jordan connections that we've been talking about the last several weeks before and heading into the World Cup.
Fan goes viral with hilarious Michael Jordan sign at 2026.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, that really, and remember we talking about the fallen angels and the bungee jumping accident, so-called in Brazil, and the jump. It's called the Jumpman logo. This is tied in.
That's
and
right.
Brazil
That's right.
and it's Brazil who have the Jumpman logo. So the whole jumping incident happened in Brazil. I don't know. There's a lot of Brazil coding.
Yeah, there it is, right there.
I mean, yeah, at this point, Brazil, with Oliver Tree dying and literally screaming world champions wearing a Brazil jersey and all these 32s, I mean.
Yeah, Cody, I was surprised that Vinny Jr. didn't score. he hit the goalpost 2 or 3 times in the last game, but to me it made a lot of sense for him with that Olivier middle or last name.
Yeah,
scoring on Oliver Tree's birthday.
That is
in Brazil.
surprising.
Like it just sounded so perfect. But
yeah, it was a bit surprising. I thought maybe he'd score 2, especially with that Olive Tree connection he has. And he was also connected. I don't know if you guys saw my video, but he was David Beckham was at this was one of the wild finds of the week for me. Actually, it wasn't even my find. Somebody on Twitter found it, but David Beckham was at the Brazil game. I think it was their last group stage game versus who was it against?
Scotland.
Oh yes. Oh, that's right. That's right. It was that versus Scotland, and there was supposed to be an alien invasion. That some lady or something from Brazil said there was going to be aliens abducting Neymar. But anyway, David Beckham was there drinking a glass of wine. So they showed him 2 minutes into the game. They showed David Beckham. He was drinking a glass of what looks to be red wine. I don't know for sure if it was red wine, but it looked like red wine. And at 2 minutes after that, because literally it was 2 minutes into the game, so it was like 18:02 100 hours, 18:02, which would be 6:02, and in Venezuela time. And then 2 minutes later in Venezuela on 18:04, there was an earthquake, and the Venezuela national team is called the Red Wine. And then, of course, on the World Ahead 2026, there is a glass of red wine spilling from what looks to be vibrating earth from a military tank. So you guys can put that together. Military weapon causing the earth to vibrate, spilling the red wine. Just so happens David Beckham shown just minutes before. And what I'm getting at is he was watching Brazil in Vinicius. And what does his name actually mean? His first name. So his last name means olive tree, but his first name means wine maker or wine. So they literally used him in 2. And remember, that was exactly 10 days after Oliver Tree died on Messi's birthday, who wears number 10. And I had called this out. So although I was completely wrong about the Netherlands, and I already made a video clarifying that, and that I was completely off on that. But like I said, my decode on that, I can't believe it didn't hit. In a way, I can't believe it didn't hit, but in a way, I can. But at the same time, right when Oliver Tree died, I mentioned that I even had it in my videos that I thought something big could happen on June 24th in connection to Messi turning 39 and Freemasonry turning 309. And that was in my video about Messi scoring 3 goals. And then it happened, something happened, and it was this earthquake, which happened in Venezuela, 32 earthquakes, 39 seconds apart on Messi's 39th birthday. And Venezuela equals 39. But yeah, that was kind of the big story of the week that was kind of really crazy, that I did share quickly on my quick video on with the red wine and the spilling stuff.
Yeah, Rambo mentioned it to me offline, and he said that there was some good segues between what you posted, which I haven't gotten a chance to check out yet.
Because you said you had it.
Yeah, I mean,
video already, right?
Right. Yeah. So Cody, I had it teed up where we were actually going to watch your 10, 11-minute video on that that wine situation with Beckham.
Okay.
But I know Rambo, wanted to bring that up because of some of the things that he was touching on as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Cody summarized it, but you could play Cody's video if you want.
Or I have the slides. If you don't want to play the video, I have also just have the slides.
Yeah, you can show the slides because I can segue off of that presentation.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have my screen shared. Let me just find the slide real fast here. Let's see. Where is it? I don't know why I can't find it. It should be here. Oh, here it is. So yeah, and just a quick segue, or this kind of went with my tower theme because, well, it really did go with my tower theme. Honestly, it kind of went with the tower theme and with the whole red wine thing. But remember, Messi came into the World Cup with 9/11 goals, and 10 days after Oliver Tree crashed out of the sky, fall, tower kind of thing. This was kind of what I was explaining just real quickly. There was this 39 seconds apart. They had to give you this detail. And I don't know if it's changed by now. Sometimes they change things, but this was the detail they were giving for at least the first few days. It's on the Wikipedia page. And that was on June 24th. And that was 39 years after Messi was born, which also aligned with the 309th anniversary of Masonry. And then, of course, you had the English soccer player Beckham there. And, Freemasonry was founded in England. Soccer was created in England. So that fits perfectly with the Freemasonry thing. But also Masonry equals 39. And this word down here, the HAARP, sums to 26, like the year, but 39 is the 26th composite. And 26 is actually the 16th composite. So that goes with the tower. So if you break that number down, 39, it actually breaks down to 16 again. But yeah, that was kind of the gist of the 39s lining up. But then there was the few more things here. The tower equals 39. So I was talking about the tower, and even the first goal of the World Cup was scored by number 16, whose name is Canones, which equals 39 in the same cipher as tower. And then
New York also equals 39. I mean, kind of going back to all the 9/11 themes and
right. And that's what's crazy about it is in my video days before this earthquake, which I mentioned something could go down on June 24th. I literally brought up New York equaling 111 and 39. And I had no idea when I was saying this that, Venezuela, there was no way to ever, I got about as close as you could have gotten to, this riddle. I mean, I could have never known that there was going to be an earthquake in Venezuela. I couldn't see certain things. You can get close and you can think about how things are going to play out. But
But there's your V again as well.
Right. It is part. There is this V thing going on. Vinny Jr., Venezuela, Victory, Nike, the goddess of victory. There's a whole bunch of V. There's a bunch I'm even forgetting now. But yeah. Then there was this, and Rambo's talked about her already this year with this this woman coming into power theme. But this was actually 39 days. So the rebuild, the cleanup, basically the first day after the event would have been 39 days after her birthday. She was born on 39 date numerology, like Venezuela. But Arturo Sosa, of course, the Jesuit priest who's the leader of the Society of Jesus, he's born in Venezuela. And his name just happens to equal 39 as well. But even red wine, that's the nickname of the Venezuela team, equals 111 and 39, like New York and Venezuela. And where is the red wine thing? Oh, I don't have the... let me go back to my X real fast, just to show you guys because I didn't make this slide, but again, shout out to Luca on X. He was the one who, see if I can find it here. Luca. He was the one who posted this. Obviously, he posted it a while ago. Or wait. Now, did he take it down? Maybe I'll have to pull up my own. Or you already have my video up, don't you, AJ?
Your video? Yeah, I have it. I mean, I have the tab open.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just saying, if you want, you can just switch over to your screen and just show them the graphic that Luca made, because I don't know where he moved.
Yeah, let's do that. But hey, really quick, I wanted to shout out Jessica Lynn. Add this to your list, Cody. With all the stuff you've been doing on the tower, Jessica says, any Death Cab for Cutie fans? They released their 11th album, 6/5 of this year, called "I Built You a Tower."
Huh. Okay. Wow. I'll have to look into that, because I don't know if you guys heard, but there was another story this week of the China Zun Tower. While we're on that real fast, the China Zun Tower was hit by a plane. Or I think it was when was it? I think it was on the 26th. So just 2 days after the earthquake. So yeah, the China Zun. If you just go to the Wikipedia, it says right here on June 26th, a plane. So here's my plane crash and my tower symbolism coming into one. Of course, that's 9/11 as well. But yeah, on June 26th, a Sunward Aurora aircraft owned by a local aviation crashed into the upper floors of the building. 13 people. The pilot of the plane, only person on board, identified in locals as Liu Junyue, died, and 13 people inside the building. But yeah, I mean, just how crazy, considering it was on the 26th too, and 626 is the 16 composite number. But look at this. It's also called the China Zun, which equals what? 39. In the same cipher as the tower and as the masonry. So that was just 2 days after this big earthquake in Venezuela with the 39s. So that was a story I didn't even cover this week, but I'm glad I got to touch on it here.
Yeah, did you want me to flip it over to your video?
Yeah, if you want, real fast. You don't have to play. Maybe you could just pause the video where I have the screenshot up, that way, because I don't know what he did with that.
Yeah, let me know where to
It should be most of the video because I think in the
Nilsson,
very
that's
beginning of the
rocks.
video,
Okay.
I start with that. Yeah, it's just that right there. So as you can see, David Beckham is pictured drinking looks to be a glass of red wine. And then on the Economist cover, you can see a glass of red wine being spilled as the earth is kind of trembling below the red wine. And the trembling looks like it's coming from a military tank. So I believe that's a very interesting clue. But yeah, and then like I said, just 2 minutes after they pictured him drinking this, you know, there was this earthquake. It was 1804. So, and then again, what's the chances that Venezuela's nickname is the red wine? But that was mainly the graphic. Like I said, that again, that shout out to Luca on X for that. And I had added that Venezuela is Miami. So this goes back to the whole Miami, Giannis going to Miami thing in a way, because this game was in Miami, where Messi plays, and Beckham is the owner of Messi's team. And Venezuela or Miami has the largest population of Venezuelans. So this is why Miami connects so closely with Venezuela. And then Giannis just got traded, so he went down to Miami, right? He got the Bucks. The Buck went down to Miami. There's a whole riddle here with the Bucks going down, the money again. It goes down, and think about how the Miami Heat logo is a ball going down in flames. I mentioned this earlier this year when what's his name broke that record. Bam Adebayo.
Wasn't there a buck on the cover of Disclosure Day too? I was looking at some different versions of the movie posters, but it just makes me think of that in that movie poster as well as Leave the World Behind. And didn't that come out around the time when the Bucks originally won?
Yeah, I think so. Did the Bucks win in? I don't remember when the Bucks won.
2021.
So I guess that movie came out like a year and a half after that. But still, I mean, the Buck was in. From what I know, I haven't watched Disclosure Day, but from what I know, it was in. There was a big theme of the Buck in that show as well, Disclosure Day.
Yeah.
So the Buck going down, if you get what I mean, he's traveling to the south, going down to Miami, going down to South Beach, right? Which was one of the reasons I was on the Netherlands, is because there's a very big theme here about going down, and Netherlands means lowlands. So, and this is why I believe that there's in Kabbalah there's the crossing the abyss, and the abyss is, in my opinion, one of the biggest symbols there is, the abyss, because the abyss is the you could say it's the bottomless pit, but I think it's a bit different than hell. But I mean, below the World Trade Centers, below the towers where they used to stand, what is there now? It's an abyss. It's where the water falls constantly down into an abyss. But so yeah, that's kind of what I'm just getting at here, is the fall and the tower, how it connects with the fall. It could connect with plane crashes. It could connect with the fallen angels, like Rambo mentioned. But I believe it all kind of goes back to the abyss in a way.
Older Bones mentions too that Miami is where they were going to have the alien abduction.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And also the Bayside Mall alien event recently in the news again. I'm not sure about that one, but
yeah, I didn't.
Thank you, Older Bones.
I do remember that Miami thing happened with, there was some sort of alien. Did some people see an alien walking in Miami or something like that?
I didn't hear that one. It makes me think of Will Smith though too, who had the song Miami, and he was also in the Men in Black movies, you know. But
yeah, so I think I think that's all I have to share on that. I think I covered all of my points on that red wine thing. So whatever Rambo has to share on that.
Yeah, Rambo, you still out there?
Yeah, I'm here. Right.
No worries.
Yeah, I'm here. Okay.
I just gave you your screen back, Rambo, if you wanted to share something. There we go.
Yeah. So this is what KODI was referring to. David Beckham plugs red wine with Sun Cruz at Scotland versus Brazil.
Oh, they even said red wine, huh? Okay.
Yeah. And that is very significant. The location is also very significant. This game was in Miami. And that stadium is Hard Rock Stadium, which is not called Hard Rock Stadium for the World Cup for sponsorship reasons. Because of the officials' very strict sponsorship rules for the World Cup, you cannot have the name of any other corporation other than a World Cup sponsor, which is why all the stadiums with sponsor names have to have their names removed. So they will not call it Hard Rock Stadium. They call it Miami Stadium, but it's Hard Rock Stadium, and it's the home of the Miami Dolphins. David Beckham is a co-owner of Major League Soccer's Inter Miami, for whom Lionel Messi plays. So he's very closely connected with Lionel Messi. So there's another angle to this, and it's a big shout out to you, KODI, because I would never have seen this image of David Beckham sipping wine in the luxury boxes and think there's like a deeper ritual to it. I would never have thought this a ritual. I thought it's just David Beckham drinking wine. Yeah, with all the stuff I noticed, I never would have thought this was a ritual. But now that you pointed out, I see the other places. It is a major ritual. After all, the key here is they're referred to as a fishbowl wine glass. So fishbowl is very significant here because of what it's a reference to. And there's Lionel Messi and David Beckham. In 2024, for Lionel Messi's birthday in 2024, David Beckham gifted Lionel Messi this massive bottle of wine because apparently Lionel Messi is a wine connoisseur. He's from Argentina. Argentina is one of the leading exporters of wine in the world. So wine is pretty deep. And it's also his symbolism, Messi, Messiah. You know that kind of Christian symbolism they have with Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. That Christian symbolism is put into football, soccer, but we know who runs pretty much everything. Let's face it, they didn't just run soccer, they run everything. It's Freemasonry. The unofficial headquarters of Freemasonry is Freemasons Hall in London on Great Queen Street. Across the street from Freemasons Hall, Great Queen Street, is where football, soccer was invented. Right across the street from Freemasons Hall. It is called Freemasons Tavern. So what is the establishment date of modern Freemasonry? Some lodges existed before. You can talk about the origins, but modern Freemasonry, at least English-speaking Freemasonry, continental Freemasonry already existed. But its founding date is June 24th, 1717. Why is it June 24th? Because June 24th is the nativity date of John the Baptist. And John the Baptist is the patron saint of Freemasonry. Lionel Messi was born on June 24th. Lionel Messi was born on the birthday of Freemasonry, which is the birthday of John the Baptist. So you can see why Lionel Messi is so significant. Now he's a goat, and goat has some major symbolism in Freemasonry as well. So that's what this is. That's what pretty much everything is about, which I've kind of illustrated vividly. So that's the significance of Messi, and it ties into Christianity. John the Baptist baptized Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, although he is said to be the Son of God, some Christians will say Jesus Christ is God himself, but he did not have the Holy Spirit. If you were God, you wouldn't need to be baptized. You would have the Holy Spirit. Jesus Christ did not have the Holy Spirit, and he did not have access to it. He needed to be baptized. There's only one person who had the direct connection to the Holy Spirit, and that was John the Baptist, which is why Freemasonry puts John the Baptist above Jesus, because John the Baptist had the direct connection to the Holy Spirit. Jesus did not. Jesus only got the gift of the Holy Spirit through John the Baptist. So that's a significant, and his nativity date is 24th June. This is a very big day. This is part of the reason Lionel Messi is considered, and there are other people who are born June 24th, but they don't have the special status. Uruguay has a player called Darwin Nunez. He was born June 24th, but he's an average professional. But Messi's special, and he's Messi, Messiah, all that Jesus symbols, Cristiano. But again, John the Baptist is above Jesus in Freemason, which makes Lionel Messi extra special. And what is the wine? The wine is a very big part of the narrative of Jesus, especially with the Eucharist, where Christians, in churches don't typically serve wine for the Eucharist. Most churches will serve grape juice just to symbolize the Eucharist. Just to go over what Eucharist is. The Eucharist, also called Holy Communion or the Lord's Supper, is a central Christian rite commemorating Jesus's Last Supper. It involves blessing and consuming bread and wine, symbolizing or believing to be the body and blood of Christ, offered to foster spiritual nourishment and communal unity. So the wine is the blood of Christ. That is why this is much deeper. This is the blood of Christ. This is Messiah, Messiah. This is a sport that uses Christian symbolism. And that's what the wine is. It's the blood of Christ. It depends on the context in which it is being presented. And of course, grape juice. But grape juice and wine come from the same source, which is grapes. But that's what they're getting at here. You can see at the Last Supper, it's Jesus, it's Messiah. Eucharist is very significant to soccer. What is unique about this World Cup is that it is the first World Cup with 104 games, which is to say that the final of the World Cup in 2026 will be the 104th game. This World Cup has been expanded, so this is not typical of a World Cup. This is the very first World Cup that has this number of games, where the final is the 104th game. Well, just look at Eucharist, which makes Eucharist for this year extra special, extra significant, because the World Cup always sums to, in gematria, in the reverse ciphers, reverse ordinal or reverse simple or reverse Pythagorean, 104, 41. There's a matchup. 104 World Cup. So World Cup has always been 104, but the World Cup has never played 104 games, which makes this World Cup extra special because this is the first World Cup where 104 actually matches up with the gematria of 104. All these years, World Cup equaled 104, but this year there are 104 games. Eucharist, drinking of the blood of Christ, sums to 104. That is the deeper level to what this is. It's all about soccer, football. That's the deeper part. Now, so the Last Supper, the Eucharist is about the drinking of the Last Supper, a central Christian rite commemorating Jesus' Last Supper, because after the Last Supper, Jesus would be crucified. So this is Luke 22:10. This is Jesus talking to the disciples about where the Last Supper would be held. And he said unto them, Behold, when ye are entered into the city, there shall a man meet you, bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house where he entereth in. The Last Supper was held in the house of the man bearing a pitcher of water. Who is the man bearing a pitcher of water? they are talking about the age of Aquarius. Aquarius is the water bearer. The symbol for Aquarius is the man bearing a pitcher of water. When they say they have the Last Supper in the house of the man bearing a pitcher of water, it is a reference to the age of Aquarius, the next age. The age of Aquarius follows the age of Pisces. It goes backwards. The ages go backwards. In the zodiac, Pisces is the last sign, and no, it's Aquarius and then Pisces. So Aquarius is the 11th sign, followed by Pisces is the 12th sign, but ages go the other way. It's Pisces first, and then the age of Aquarius. Now Jesus is basically Jesus is a psychopomp. So what a psychopomp is an entity that can travel from the material world to the spirit world. He's spirit and flesh. He's from the spirit world. He can transcend into the flesh world, and he can go back as well, and he can accompany souls to and from these realms because he can interact between the two realms, spirit and flesh. That's a messenger archetype. Long before, very, very long time before Christianity existed, that archetype existed in Greco-Roman mythology. That archetype was Mercury to Rome, Hermes to Greece, who's half god, whose father's a god, Jupiter or Zeus, and whose mother is a mortal, Maya. Maya, the mortal, and Zeus, the god, or Jupiter, the god, had the son Hermes, who's Mercury, who also is a psychopomp who goes in between the spirit world and the material world. And Hermes Mercury is a messenger god. He's called the divine messenger. He has many properties, positive and negative, but the Antichrist also has the negative side of Mercury, which is Mercury retrograde, which is the trickster. But the positive side of Mercury is the divine messenger. And that existed long before Christianity existed. In fact, in Greece, Mercury was also a shepherd god, and he was called the Good Shepherd. That was Hermes. Hermes was the Good Shepherd. Hermes is depicted holding a sheep or a ram over his shoulders, which Christians then adopted with Jesus holding a ram over his shoulders, or a sheep. That was preceded with Hermes and Mercury. Plus, many say September 11th is the real birth of Jesus, which would have been called Jesus. Jesus is a name given by Rome, which is a reference to Zeus. Hail Zeus, Jesus. Rome gave him that name. In Hebrew, Jesus is called Yeshua. Yeshua does not translate to Jesus, it translates to Joshua. Jesus also called Emmanuel, but the name Jesus didn't exist. Rome came up with that name. Nonetheless, Yeshua, Joshua, Emmanuel, Yahushua, which he would have been called, the real birth would not have been December 25th. The birth of Jesus clearly is describing warm weather in summer. December 25th is something that the Romans introduced because it's the sun's return on December 25th when the sun's arc in the sky starts to increase. That's December 25th comes from Rome. The actual Yeshua, Jesus, Joshua, Emmanuel, as described in the Bible, would have been born in summer. And there's a general, some people accept that the real birth of Jesus would have been September 11th, which kind of makes sense as to why that was such a big day in 2001, because that is one of the dates given for the possible real birth of the entity called Jesus, who, again, you can call him what you will, Yahushua or Emmanuel. September 11th would have been his birthday. If that is his birthday, that would make him a Virgo. And Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is the divine messenger. Nonetheless, this is the how, and that's another thing that so Mercury and Hermes as a divine messenger because they're psychopomps and they can move in between realms, spirit and flesh. A psychopomp ushers in, crosses borders, and ushers in a new age. So the age of Pisces is this is called the Ichthys. It's a tough word. Ichthys. It's called the Ichthys. This fish symbol, and it represents Jesus. Jesus has the great catch. Jesus is associated with fish. That is because Jesus. So the divine messenger ushers in a new age. So the divine messenger appears at the end of an age, in between the end of an age and the new age. That's when he appears. So before the age of Pisces was the age of Aries. So this is when Jesus of the Bible would have appeared. At the end of the age of Aries and the beginning of the age of Pisces. He's ushering the new age. So the year 2000, we should say Jesus was born, year 2000 is AD, means after the birth of Christ. That's after the birth of Christ is the new age, which is approximately 2,000 years. There's no fixed date in astrology nobody will agree on how long an age is, but it's pretty clear that September 11th is the unofficial beginning of the age of Aquarius. So much ties into the age of Aquarius. In the Latin cipher, the Agrippa cipher, KODI and Derek have talked about how important the Agrippa Latin cipher is. KODI has demonstrated almost every week. Age of Aquarius, sums to 846, the starting time of September 11th. That was the unofficial start of the age of Aquarius. Now, Jesus appears, or the divine messenger appears to usher in the new age. That's why he appeared at to begin the age of Pisces. That's why he's associated with fish. And that's why you have the Ichthys. You'll see on a lot of bumper stickers, a lot of Christians will have this bumper sticker on their cars, Jesus and the fish. Why? Because he ushered in the age of Pisces, which is why they refer to David Beckham's wine glass as a fish bowl. And remember, where is he here? At the home of the Miami Dolphins. What is the nickname of the Miami Dolphins? They nicknamed the Fish. I know somebody who hates sports with a passion, but used to wear a Miami Dolphins jersey, sweatshirt, and he was always being pestered by NFL fans who wanted to talk football with him, but he hates football. The reason he wore the Miami Dolphins sweatshirt is because he's a Pisces. And he liked a sweatshirt with a fish symbol, so he wore, and he liked the colors. It's a nice color. Interesting. You see this color here? That's the color of the Miami Dolphins. I don't think that's the coincidence. The time here, the 207, it's real small if you can see it. I think they literally chose the Miami Dolphins colors. But that's why he saw a fish on it. He doesn't know anything about, he hates sports, NFL. But because he's a Pisces, he identified with the Miami Dolphins sweatshirt. And their nickname is The Fish. This was at the home of the Miami Dolphins that this happened. And it's called a fish bowl. None of this is a very intricate ritual. But this is the heart of it. This is the blood of Jesus. That's exactly what this is. And Lionel Messi, with his connections that I just gave, and the Eucharist. This is about the Eucharist. And look at how Eucharist lines up with the World Cup and how significant it is to this World Cup 2026, because it's 104 games for the first time, and Eucharist 104.
And Rambo, to that point, really quick, with this Eucharist connection and the 104s, I just wanted to point out too, just kind of the Oliver Tree connection in the sense. Don't forget he goes by Alien Boy, and we know that, or he has a song called Alien Boy. We know that he died right after the release date of Disclosure Day. Alien equals 41, right? But he also, and I think I pointed this out to you last week or the week before, right after his reported death. But there is that similar crucifixion posing or symbology that he's done in his own with his own music and albums, right? So there's kind of that Christ connection there too, even just with Oliver Tree, the World Cup, et cetera, et cetera. With the Eucharist.
Last week you brought that up, and I showed the image of Oliver Tree in the crucifixion pose with the scooter.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Another chariot, like we talked about.
Chariot, yeah. So this is the context. And behold, when you enter into the city, there shall a man meet you, bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house where he entereth in. That's where the Last Supper was held, in the house of the man bearing a pitcher of water. What is that describing? It's talking about Jesus ushered. He shows up at the end of the age of Aries to usher in the age of Pisces. That's why Jesus was associated with fish and the ichthys and the Jesus fish. Now, at the end of the age of Pisces and the beginning of the age of Aquarius, the divine messenger, the psychopomp, should emerge again to usher in the new age, the age of Aquarius. The divine messenger should show up again to usher in the new age, which is what this is about. This is the age of the man bearing a pitcher of water. That's what he's saying here. I'll come back again. I just ushered in. That's why he had to leave. I've ushered in the age of Pisces. If now it's the age of Pisces, I'm going to leave. I'll come back at the beginning of this again, because that's when I show up. That's what he's saying.
You know, it's interesting too. I want to give credit where it's due, because I was thinking about the same thing. I think it was maybe Maggie that mentioned it in the comments. But when we think of Age of Aquarius, it reminds me of that song, Age of Aquarius. And I think a lot of people that saw the movie 40-Year-Old Virgin might remember that Age of Aquarius is like the pretty much the outro song of the movie. So whoever it was, I was looking back in the comment section. I can't find it, but it just made me think about 40-Year-Old Virgin, like Virgin Mary, like Jesus, you know, born of the Virgin Mary. Just with what you're talking about now with Aquarius and Jesus and Eucharist, etc. I don't think it's a coincidence that they have that song as the kind of the outro for 40-Year-Old Virgin as well.
Yeah, plus virgin is a symbol of purity.
Right.
And Jesus was associated with purity himself. Who sings the song Age of Aquarius? It's a group called Fifth Dimension, the Fifth Dimension. And I've gone on and on about the dimensions. I hate to keep bringing it back to this, but I told you, what this one issue affects everything, and I mean everything. The UFO disclosure, for the authority to say, it's the government of the United States of America, the world's empire. This is not a authority, it's the authority. They are saying it. Whether they've proven it or not, the fact that they are saying it, it has everybody scrambling, from the truth community to those who are in academia and mainstream media. Their heads are spinning. Mainstream media doesn't know how to deal with this, which I think is great. Their heads are spinning. The authority finally has adopted a conspiracy theory and is saying the conspiracy theorists were right all along. And I find it's so much fun to watch the heads spin of mainstream media. TMZ's headline, when they've been doing this, they've been having hearings for the last 2 years of people in positions in the government talking about disclosure, but the official announcement by the United States government, which is in 2026, which is on May 8th, about the U.S. government's their claim that they have the evidence, including live bodies. They say they have live bodies. Their claim, regardless of whether they prove it or not, the authority is saying that it's true. So TMZ, their headline was, United States, paraphrasing, United States government, whatever, releases evidence of whatever, extraterrestrials and UFO craft. Then it says, cue the conspiracy theorists, which I find really funny, because they still can't get over the fact that this is no longer the realm of conspiracy theorists. The authority is doing it. And TMZ in their headline, you can see how confused they are. Because as soon as your UFO ET, like the government has evidence, they right away point to conspiracy theorists, even though in their own headline they just said it's the authority that's saying it. It's not conspiracy theorists saying it anymore. It's the authority saying it. And even TMZ still can't get over it because they have to follow it up with cue the conspiracy theorists. It's like somebody needs to tap them on the shoulder and say, no, this time it's not the conspiracy theorists saying it. It's the authority which you always have obeyed blindly.
Right.
You always bow down to the authority. Now they're saying that they have evidence of bodies, live beings, and craft. It's not, and they still don't get it. They still can't fathom it. They're still pointing to conspiracy theorists. I find it entertaining to see their head spinning. This is throwing everything on its head, the UFO ET thing. Regardless of what they do next. Nonetheless, one of the things the U.S. government in their hearings, and one of the lead, I guess the person in the United States government that has been charged with leading the disclosure hearings, because her name is Luna, Representative Anna Paulina Luna from Florida, incidentally. I actually think she might be from Miami. Anna Paulina Luna. She has talked about, she's a congresswoman. She has talked about the interdimensionality of the UFO craft, which are called UAPs. She's talked about it, how they're interdimensional. Other government, with people in different positions in the government, have spoken about the dimensionality, how the craft move between dimensions. They can exist in 5D, which is invisible to anyone from 3D. You cannot perceive through the 5 senses. In this realm, anything that's above 3 dimensions. So something that is in 5 dimensions could be right in front of you, but you couldn't see it. You can perceive it. But they can perceive you because you're at a lower dimension than them. This is now the official position of the United States government, the world authority. Not just that they exist, that they can travel in and out of dimensions. The song Age of Aquarius is by a group called The Fifth Dimension, which is why, and this is a huge shout out to one of my patrons, BPM. I've shouted him out many times for this. He noticed that there's a 4-day span between the death of the lead singer of 3 Doors Down. Think of that, 3 Doors Down, 3D. And a 4-day span between the death of the lead singer of The Fifth Dimension. 3D, 5th dimension. You see where they're going with that. Shout out to BPM. He noticed that. I would never have noticed that. But it validated what I was talking about. And also that talks about the 53. We talk about all the 53s were so prevalent during the NBA playoffs. Again, shout out to Simple Truth, who did a great decode before the NBA playoffs on how the Knicks would win. And 53 was huge. And Chipotle did an advertising campaign with the NBA, where after the NBA finals were finished, Chipotle would give away 53,000 burritos just to honor the fact that the Knicks hadn't won in 53 years. And the last time the Knicks won, the San Antonio Spurs were established 53 years ago. And so Chipotle would give away 53,000 burritos. 53 was huge. That's 5. Why is it? Because, and who was in the NBA finals? The Alien was in the final. Victor Wembanyama, the Alien. Get it? 5-3, 5D, 3D. The U.S. government is now saying it. Now, someone say the U.S. government lies. I've talked about it before. Yeah, you shouldn't trust them. Yeah, you shouldn't trust authority. Absolutely. But wait a minute. For 80 years, they said ETs and UFOs didn't exist. So are you saying the U.S. government was actually telling the truth for 80 years? I mean, I went over that before. It's turned everything on its head. So even those who don't trust the government, now what do you say? I don't trust them now, but I trusted them for 80 years. It's confusing everybody. But that's the 5-3. It's the interdimensionality. 3 dimensions, 5 dimensions. You can't detect anything that's in 5D if you're in 3D. The official position of the United States government is that ET craft, they come into 3D from 5D. So they have to transcend 5D in order to be appeared by humans. But the moment they appear in 5D, this is what they're not telling you. The moment that they appear in 5D, the U.S. government shoots them down, which is why They prefer not to appear. So I don't know how this disclosure thing is going to go. For their own safety, it's better to remain in 5D, because we can attest to it, especially in this community, what kind of people run this world. If we know it, then the ETs know it. And they know because they know what happens when they appear in 3D. Now you're in the hands of the psychopaths who run this earth, who we talk about it in this community every day, literally. So that's your 5D, 3D. Since you brought up Age of Aquarius, it's by a group called the Fifth Dimension, which ties right into this ET thing. Everything ties into the ET thing, the Fifth Dimension. They move in and out. So, and that's also what a psychopomp does. It's a mercurial image. The archetype of Mercury or Hermes moves, crosses borders, spirit realm, flesh realm. The planet Mercury is the closest planet to the sun, which is why you only really can see Mercury at dusk and at dawn. And what is the significance of dusk and dawn? You're going from, well, at dusk you're going from day to night, and at dawn you're going from night to day. Again, that's crossing the threshold, which Mercury does because it's so close to the sun. When the sun sets, Mercury sets. When the sun rises, Mercury rises. Again, and that's symbolic of how Mercury transcends day, crosses the threshold from day to night, the threshold from night to day. Spirit, flesh, 5D, 3D. So the Age of Aquarius, so there's a lot of water symbolism with the Age of Aquarius. And what's another very big, unique aspect to this 2026 World Cup, and again, I have to emphasize, football soccer is the brainchild of Freemasonry, right across the street from the headquarters of Freemasonry. That's how close it is to Freemasonry. And John the Baptist is known for water, their patron saint. You baptize with water. The Holy Spirit symbolically enters you through the water. That's the importance of water. So a very significant, unique aspect of this World Cup is that they have hydration breaks for I could use some hydration right now, but I don't have any available. Hydration breaks are a unique aspect to the 2026 World Cup. In each half stops, which soccer has never had this, which is causing a lot of complaints by soccer fans because they're saying it's because of the heat. That what they'll do is they'll stop the game in the middle of the first half, the middle of the second half, and what soccer fans, traditional soccer football fans are saying is, this is the Americans introducing an Americanism to soccer, making the game into quarters. That's what they're saying. But it's deeper. It's this symbolism, the water symbol, John the Baptist, and hydration and water, the Age of Aquarius, the water bearer. That's what Jesus ushered in at the Last Supper. Here, World Cup will include 3-minute hydration breaks in each of all games. And that's because of the water symbol more than anything else, the esoteric part of this. There have been some games where the temperature is in the 70s and it was raining and they still had hydration breaks. But they said that the hydration breaks were due to the extreme heat. There have been plenty of games where there is no extreme heat, or they're even in climate-controlled closed arenas like the one in Atlanta, like the one in Dallas, like the one in LA. Heat is not a factor because they're climate-controlled, but they still have hydration breaks. So it's really not about heat. It isn't.
So does it, sorry, Rambo, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just had a question. So does this mean that they actually stop the clock, or does this 3 minutes bake into the extra time that they add at the end?
Oh, they will stop the clock. The referee will stop the clock. Then the clock will stop when the ref says so. And then after the 3 minutes, the game will start again.
Gotcha.
It's about the water symbolism, the Age of Aquarius. This is about the Age of Aquarius more than anything else. It's also about John the Baptist. It's about the patron saint of Freemasonry. the one who had access to the Holy Spirit, which is a positive thing. The Holy Spirit is a positive thing.
Well, and it's part of the Trinity, right? I think the 3 minutes you can't look over as well.
Yeah, it's a great observation. I didn't even realize that was a good one. Great observation. Absolutely great observation. I didn't get the 3. Absolutely, the Trinity. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, thanks for that. Now that you mentioned it, in the background here, you can see a number 3 right next to this American goalkeeper drinking, and there's a number 3 right there. So yeah, that's a great. Yeah, that's why they chose 3. Absolutely, the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, which is thought, action, emotion. Holy Spirit is emotion, the heart. And the heart is a cup. Also, you think of the World Cup. Tarot. So the playing cards we have now came from the tarot deck. The 4 suits come from the 4 suits of the tarot deck. The tarot suit of cups corresponds to the playing card suit of hearts. So cups equals hearts, and this is the World Cup. So again, and cups have to do with water. If you look at the tarot card for Ace of Cups, it's a chalice with water just spilling over. So again, it goes back to the whole symbolism of David Beckham drinking from that wine glass. The fishbowl, again, wine glass, the cup, the Ixus fish. So water is 67, so that's very significant. The gematria of water, and the 6-7 craze that we talked about. I mean, I found out about it from you, AJ. The 6-7 craze. That's been 6-7 was actually word of the year according to Webster's dictionary. The official phrase of the year was 6-7. That's how far out of hand it got. Well, water since the 6-7. I've illustrated here how significant water is symbolically to everything, the World Cup and the New Age. So you were saying how you think this would have been appropriate for Vinicius of Brazil to have scored. Well,
I was saying that mainly just because he has the name Oliver in it, right? And that game was being played on Oliver Tree's birthday, who just died in Brazil. That was the alignment.
But a player who did score, I will demonstrate why this player was more significant, or you could say equally as significant, I'd say, to the grand overarching ritual. And that is a player named Casemiro. Casemiro scored one of the 2 goals. Casemiro scores and hits the 6-7 celebration equalizer for Brazil. You don't think soccer's a ritual? I mean, of course, this community knows it. But outside of soccer, what we say is sports are all rituals, deep esoteric rituals. You think he came up with it, or do you think he was told to do it? Of course he was. They're all initiates in the order. And this is the heart of the ritual these are all rituals that they do. 6-7. Casemiro hit a 6-7 post. I actually have in my video, I showed some of his 6-7 celebrations right after this, just so people can see it. It's something he does a lot. He didn't just do it for the World Cup. So this is him with Manchester United. See? This is Casemiro with Manchester United, his team. 6-7. Now this is him earlier today. So that's him doing the juggling. So the juggling is the 6-7. See, there he does the 6-7 juggling. Right. And there's Vinicius at the end. I think it's very appropriate at the end Vinicius showed up. So there you see so he didn't do it just for the World Cup. He does it all the time. He plays in England, which is it's the richest league in the world. So most of the best players in the world play in the Premier League, which is it's the highest rated league in the world. It's the most popular league in the world. It's the English Premier League of soccer, which is the home of football. So that's the significance. But now you know why. Significant water, 6-7, and its connection to everything. The age of Aquarius, John the Baptist, baptized in water, Lionel Messi, birthday of John the Baptist, baptized in water. Where did John the Baptist baptize Jesus? In the Jordan. We're back to Jordan again. Jordan and the 23rd World Cup. Jordan. It all ties together. Now, what's the significance of Casemiro as well is he's a Pisces. Talk about Jesus ushering the age of Pisces and how Jesus is associated with fish. He's a Pisces, February 23rd. Pisces, February 18th to March 20th. So February 23rd, he's a Pisces. Pisces is, you can see it. So so there are 4 elements: fire, water, earth, air. Those are the 4 elements. 12 zodiac signs. There are 3 zodiac signs for each element. So there are 3 zodiac signs for water. Pisces is a water sign. That's why Casemiro is a Pisces, February 23rd, and he does the 6-7 celebration. The water sums to 6-7. This is the depth of the ritual. This is why I don't know if he knows all of this. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I don't know, but they know for sure who told him to do it. And the ruling planet. So Pisces has 2 ruling planets, Jupiter and Neptune. So Neptune is the significant one here as a ruler of Pisces, Casemiro's sign, because Neptune in Rome is Poseidon in Greece, but that's the god of the waters. Neptune is associated with waters. His symbol is the trident. Neptune is the god of fresh water and the sea in the Roman religion. He is the counterpart of the Greek god Poseidon, the god of fresh water and the sea. That's Neptune. Neptune rules Pisces. Casemiro's a Pisces. He does the 6-7, water 6-7. Just so we don't, get buried in all the facts, just to be clear. Now there's a tarot card that represents Neptune, the planet Neptune, and that is the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man represents Neptune. So this is related as well. And so the dolphins are related here because the symbols of the god Neptune in ancient Rome, aside from the trident, it says here from Wikipedia, symbol, horse, trident, dolphin. Where was David Beckham sipping the wine? In Miami, the home of the Dolphins, the home of the Miami Dolphins of the NFL. You see the deeper parts of the ritual. The dolphin is very significant. It is at the home of the Dolphins. The Dolphins is a symbol of Neptune. Neptune is a god of the waters. And he's watching Brazil. Casemiro didn't score, but he plays for Brazil. Casemiro is a big part of this. So I'm guessing we haven't heard the last of Casemiro. It turns out he's a big part of all of this. Yes, so the dolphin is another Neptune symbol besides the trident. And it was at the home of the Dolphins. This is all about water and the dolphins. The Hanged Man tarot card represents Neptune, the planet Neptune, which is the ruling planet of Pisces. I'll show further how the Hanged Man represents more than just Pisces. But Casemiro played for Manchester United. He played for them the last several seasons. The last season was his last season, but that's the most recent team he's played for. But look at the logo of Manchester United. What do you see? Their nickname is the Red Devils, a trident. Manchester United, Casemiro's team, have a trident in their logo. Things like this tell you he doesn't choose his team. They're a free agent, soccer player, and his agent. They put on a show for everybody. How you talk to different teams, and their agent negotiates with the terms of different teams. When you see all this symbolism, it tells you that because of what Casemiro stands for, he has to go to the team with the trident. Is KODI trying to get in with a comment? I thought I heard KODI trying to.
Yeah. Hey, KODI, did you have anything?
Not. I'm just listening. I was. If I have something, it will be maybe a little bit later, but I'm still listening. Also.
Okay, I thought I heard your your mic unmuted. But okay, yeah. So Casemiro ends up playing at the team with a trident logo. Why do you think he ends up there? When you see the symbolism, did he choose that? Did they really negotiate terms with multiple teams? I doubt it. They, to whom he signed a contract, said, you will play for Manchester United. But they can't tell the public that. But we can figure it out when you look at these clues. What are the odds that he fits so perfectly with the symbols? He's a Pisces. It's ruled by Neptune. You know, he plays for Brazil as well. Home of the Dolphins. He plays the home of the Dolphins. David Beckham does his fishbowl wine bottle ritual. The god of the waters. He does the 6-7 really. Do you really think he decided to do 6-7 or he was told? Of course he was told to do 6-7 because he's a Pisces and water is 6-7. Pisces is a water sign. Just reviewing all the details because people can get lose track of all the details. I review the details. Now you know why he ends up with the team with the Trident, because he's a Pisces. And Trident is Neptune. Neptune rules Pisces. So the Hangman has to do with more than just Pisces. The Hangman has to do with the mutable cross. The mutable cross is made up of the mutable signs. The mutable signs are the signs that occur when the seasons are mutating. When winter is mutating to spring, is the time of Pisces. When spring is mutating to summer, is the time of Gemini. When summer is mutating to winter to fall, is the time of Virgo. When fall is mutating to winter, is the time of Sagittarius. So these are the mutable signs, and the cross that they form, the Pisces Virgo axis and the Gemini Sagittarius axis, that cross is called the mutable cross, which is also called St. Peter's cross, which is also the upside down cross. So this upside down cross is a zodiac reference. It is associated with the devil, typically, and Satanism, but it's actually a zodiac sign. So yeah, these are the 4 zodiac signs that make up the mutable cross, the upside down cross. That's why the Hangman represents Neptune, because Neptune rules Pisces, which is one of the signs on the zodiac, the zodiacal mutable cross. So very often in Hanged Man symbolism, the personalities involved in Hanged Man symbols typically will come from these 4 signs: a Gemini, a Virgo, a Sagittarius, or a Pisces. In fact, and this website is called Building Beautiful Souls. Well, they have a great graphic on the tarot card. They do tell you that it represents Neptune, which again, that's Pisces because Neptune rules Pisces. But they also say zodiac sign Sagittarius. So how is it that they say Sagittarius and Neptune when Neptune rules Pisces? That's because it actually represents the mutable cross. Sagittarius is part of the mutable cross, and Neptune rules Pisces. So it really represents the mutable cross, all 4 sides, the Hangman. And of course, in Gematria, what is Hangman? 6-7. That's another reason Casemiro does the 6-7, because his zodiac sign, Pisces, the water sign, water 6-7, is also part of the mutable cross, which is the Hangman. Hangman is 6-7. That's Casemiro. He's part of the mutable cross, the Hangman. The other goal scorer for Brazil, besides Casemiro, doing the 6-7 Hanged Man, is there any chance that he may be part of the mutable cross? Pisces, we see Gemini there. Yes, the other scorer was Gabriel Martinelli, who also plays in the Premier League, the richest league in the world. A lot of people play there. Gabriel Martinelli scored the other goal for Brazil, and he's a Gemini. This is about the mutable cross, the Hanged Man, Hangman 6-7. That's why he did the 6-7. St. Peter's cross, which is the upside down cross. They say that St. Peter was crucified upside down. At the time that St. Peter was crucified upside down, Nero was the emperor of Rome. Shout out to Casey Jones, Bobby Simpson, who whenever Nero is mentioned, he says that Nero means water in Greek. This is the connection. by Water 67, Nero. This is shout out to Casey Jones. He only says that Nero means water. Emperor Nero was a Sagittarius who died in Gemini. Interestingly, since I'm shouting out Casey Jones, Bobby Simpson, Nero, Bobby was died on what is the official death date of Nero, June 9th. Interesting how this also. It's under Emperor Nero that St. Peter is crucified upside down. And just by coincidence, I guess, Nero is a Sagittarius who died in Gemini. Both sides on the mutable cross, the upside down cross, and then he crucifies somebody upside down. It's interesting how it all works out. St. Peter's cross in the Pythagorean cipher is 6-7. That's another.
And that's the same reason why, like in Spider-Man, it's Peter Parker.
Exactly.
Who hangs upside down, right?
Exactly. Yes, St. Peter. That's a great observation. Again, so there are multiple representations of the hangman. The spider is one of them. The bat is one of them. There are some tarot cards that have a bat as the hangman. Then I have to shout out another patron, West Coast Hippie. He pointed something out which I never realized, which ties this all together. I never realized it. Big shout out to West Coast Hippie. He pointed out something observation of his about another representation of the hangman, which I never would have guessed. So shout out West Coast Hippie. He pointed it out on the Discord, which is why, it's some great minds on the Discord channel. I'll get to that. This is the mutable cross. This is what West Coast Hippie pointed out to me, which I never realized. On the Rider-Waite, this is the most popular tarot deck, the Rider-Waite deck. The hangman is on a vine. Every detail of a tarot card is important and significant. These are vines, which ties right into vine, wine. Why is wine called wine? Because it comes from vine. We're just talking about Vinicius. The name comes from vine, Vinicius, wine. Because wine comes from vines. Because grapes grow on vines. I mean, I can't shout out West Coast Hippie enough because he realized this. I never realized this. This actually is a wine reference, a vine reference, because grapes are a hanged man symbol because they hang. Unlike other, I guess fruit in general do hang, but the hangman actually has the vines leaves on it. You see the leaves, that come along with the grapes from the vines. You see the tree. This is just a generic Google search for a grapevine. You see the tree and how the grapes are hanging, and you have the leaves. That's what this is. So that ties further into the symbolism of David Beckham drinking the wine. Now the hangman is a crucifixion symbol. The hangman is a heretic. So Jesus was crucified as a heretic. They considered him to be a heretic because he challenged the mainstream religious doctrines. He did a whole bunch of things that challenged the prevailing paradigm. From Rome, he challenged Rome's paradigm, and he also challenged the existing, I guess, Hebraic, I don't know other words you could call it, paradigm. I don't think they used the word Jewish at the time. But he challenged those authorities as well. So Jesus was considered a heretic. And so the hangman is also a Christ crucifixion symbol. On the Aleister Crowley deck, he actually depicts the hangman with his arms out in the crucifixion pose and the nails, which is symbolisms of crucifixion, the nails in the Crowley deck. So this is also related to a crucifixion. He's a heretic, but he's enlightened. It's pretty much what a heretic has to go through to gain enlightenment. It's not an easy way. No one can tell you. No one can tell you what the matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. And it's not a fun experience to be really enlightened if you want it. If you really want to know the truth, as Morpheus said, if you really want to know the truth, you have to see it for yourself. You can only learn so much from great decoders, sages, books, ultimately you have to live it, and it's not pleasant. The pleasant part of it is the enlightenment you get as a result. And there's no easy way to get it. Nothing worth having is easy. That's what a heretic is. Freemasonry uses this as an allegory. You're going to have to suffer, but there's meaning in the suffering. And that's what the hangman is, which is why the hangman, despite being hanged, essentially, well, this is the reason. He did it for the glow of enlightenment. So the hangman, like Jesus Christ, it's suffering that he chose. He agreed. He chose it. So it's not like he's a sacrifice. They just grabbed him and he's an innocent sacrifice. It's the story of self-sacrifice for enlightenment, because there's really no other way of getting it. And again, there are mythologies much older than Christianity that have this archetype, much, much older than that precede. Odin is the same archetype. Odin is Mercury. Odin is Woden. Woden's day is Wednesday, which is Mercury day. He self-sacrificed as well. In fact, he lost an eye. He gouged out his own eye. This is the same archetype, and that precedes Christianity by a long way. But the whole story is in order to get the enlightenment, you will have to. There's no pleasant way of doing it. You can't have an easy life and get enlightenment. No. Or somebody will just teach you. No, they'll teach you, they'll guide you, but ultimately everybody has to do it for themselves. Not to be like, well, feel guilty that you're not suffering. Not necessarily. You have to. But you get.
No,
you
just gotta put the work. You got to put the work in.
Exactly, for anything worth having. But yeah, sometimes you have to be considered a heretic, and you will be. If you are a sacrifice, you chose it. It'll be worth it though, because there's no other way. You will see what the matrix is as a result. You'll reach Christ consciousness. You will reach Christ consciousness. Eventually, everybody will. But the vines, again, shout out to West Coast Hippie. Like, what an observation. I can't shout them out enough. This is what the grapes are. This is what the hangman is. The grapes are the hangman. Which, this goes to, I'm going to shout out another patron. I don't know if he doesn't know he's listening to this show. But Johnny Stash, huge shout out. So Johnny, I know you had wanted me to see this, but, I'm so busy I can't see everything. Johnny, just this Sunday, he encouraged me to see this because I had been saying I want to decode this movie, the movie Him, which is about sacrifice in sports, which we talk about. Now this is Hollywood bringing it out in the open, which in this community, we've always talked about sacrifice for success in general, but specifically in sports. And here we're dealing with sports, the World Cup. I had wanted to see this movie. That website that you recommended for me, it keeps going, it's cat and mouse. So as soon as these websites come up, they shut them down.
Sure.
Shout out to Johnny Stash for encouraging me to see this and to decode it. So I have to decode it. So I do have a decode, which I'm still doing other decodes. I've actually already decoded this. The notes are all there. I just have to lay the notes together. Put it together in writing, narrate it, edit the audio, because when you hear the audio in my videos, it's smooth. It sounds nothing like that. You don't even want to know what it sounds like. Clearing my throat, making mistakes, about all sorts of mistakes. Gaps of silence when I'm trying to. Anyway, so I have to edit the audio so it comes out nice and smooth like it does in the video. Then I have to attach audio. Then I have to attach music. Just to give you an idea, these videos take time, but I have all the notes. Shout out to Johnny, who really helped me out, encouraging us, Johnny Stash, encouraging me to decode this movie, which ties right in. I'm actually, at the time you told me to decode it, there's something that ties in this movie to the World Cup, which I wouldn't have known because the World Cup, 2026 World Cup hadn't happened yet. So I'm actually glad that I'm seeing this. I actually got to see the movie and decode it at the time of the World Cup, and you'll see why, because I'll go back to the last part of my video presentation here, which shows you part of Him. It's a clip from Him. a short clip from him, and you'll see why it's significant and how the movie Him, which is about sacrifice, you saw him in the crucifixion pose, how it ties into this World Cup, and specifically David Beckham drinking that wine from the glass at the Brazil Scotland game. So Him, this is the poster to the movie. This is a scene from the movie. He's a rookie quarterback going to sign for the professional league there. See the wine glasses? And what does he do? This is the star of the movie, the rookie. What does he do? You see how that ties in? Him ties right into what we're talking about, the movie Him. So in my decode, after seeing the movie Him, it gives a deeper significance to this. It means way more, astonishingly, and you'll have to wait for my decode. But that was
I'm excited about that one, Rambo, for sure. Yeah. I mean, for those that haven't seen it at this point, make sure that you guys do so. I'm glad that you finally came around to seeing it, and to your point, seeing it at the time that you're seeing it probably worked out even better for you with what's been going on with this latest example in the World Cup. So I'm excited to see that video in totality.
And I shout out KODI because KODI saw this and knew that there was deeper symbolism to it. Had I seen David Beckham drinking wine from the luxury box at a World Cup game, I would have thought, with all the symbolism I noticed, I still would have said that's some esoteric symbol. No, that's just David Beckham drinking wine. I'm not going to make. I didn't see it. I would not have even suspected that there was more depth to this. I never would have had KODI not said, "Wait a minute, there is more depth to this." Then again, shout out to Johnny. Thanks for encouraging me to decode Him. I also encourage the audience, especially since those in the audience who are interested in sports and are very interested in, and a lot of us do have decodes and have their platforms and have done many decodes on sports related sacrifices. That movie is essential for this community, especially those in this community who decode specifically sports sacrifices. And you, AJ especially, had encouraged me to see it and to decode it. But I finally did get around to it, and I encourage anyone who didn't see it to see it. And when I do my video, I told you it takes a long time to do videos. I have a couple other videos after first. So it'll be a little bit of time before I release that video. But I do show more depth to this. But you can see from what I just showed there how it ties directly into this image. The star of the show, the rookie, who's going to sign for, they don't say NFL, obviously, but for the league, the professional league, the ritual they put him through. A wine drinking ritual. You saw it in that episode. They all drink wine together, and then he drinks it. And if you saw this and KODI's decode, then you see the movie Him, you say, yep, that ties into the World Cup. So again, if you want to decode this World Cup, I encourage you. Again, you might steal my thunder and get my decode out. Well, fair play to you if you do. That movie has clues to this World Cup, and it remains to be seen if it actually has a prediction. But yeah, this scene has. Yeah, go ahead.
Rambo, I don't know. I mean, since you just in the last 2 or 3 minutes, I just already looked into. I already see a connection to the World Cup. I don't know if I want to say it because.
It'll steal my thunder. No, go ahead, man. More fair play to you. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know if it's in you. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know how important this aspect is, but I realized that the movie was released on the 19th of the month, which means it's going to fall exactly on a month, perfect month for the World Cup, which is on the 7/19. And so I noticed, let me just take a lot of these ciphers off for now and just, man, it started pouring here right when I opened this up. It started pouring like the wine.
In the 19th prime, by the way.
I can't even hear you guys. It's literally so pouring so hard here.
No, great observation, AJ, on the 19th prime. And people didn't hear you. You were a little quiet, maybe. The 19th
Yeah.
prime number is 67. That's shout out to AJ.
Yeah. Okay. But notice that him equals 10 in Chaldean and 29 in Bacon. So 29 is the 10th prime. So 10, Messi wears 10. And so does a lot of the teams, by the way, or a lot of the star players. But Messi wears 10. And I just think it's not a coincidence that exactly 10 months before the World Cup is him release. So
10 months on the nose.
Yeah. So I don't think
a football. It is a football kind of connection.
Well,
right?
that's what I mean. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think 10 months exactly they released it. I mean, and soccer is football, and think about how important the number 10 is to soccer/football. I mean, like I said, Messi wears 10. Most of the good players on most of the teams wear 10. I think at least a good majority of them I've noticed. I mean, there's obviously others, but 10 is seems like a very prominent number in soccer. Maybe Rambo can correct me on that, but it seems like 10 is a very important number in general.
No, you're correct. Absolutely. It's kind of like the glamour number.
Yeah. Say 10, like Sojourn says. Something
and
very.
hence why Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan, died on October 29th, 1029.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, in this movie itself is people would say it's very satanic, right? Satan.
It's a very satanic movie.
So
which equals 67.
Right, exactly. That's what I was gonna get at. The 67, satanic equals 67. And that's one of the reasons I like the Netherlands too. At some point was because the Netherlands, their king was coronated or became king on April 30th, Church of Satan, and their first football game was on April 30th as a team, an international game. And Netherlands means lowlands, kind of like underworld, kind of like devil, Satan symbolism. It just all seemed perfect. And not only that, it was 80 days. The final was 80 days after the Church of Satan's birthday. Satan equals 80. Trump just turned 80. The Netherlands played their first game on Trump's 80th birthday. I mean, I just couldn't do, like I said, I apologize to my subscribers in my video earlier, but I did my best. I wasn't promoting anyone to bet either. I didn't bet on it, but it just seemed like a perfect decode. But that just shows you that there's always more prominent riddles that could be playing out that you're not aware of, especially when I'm a sock. I mean, I just started decoding. This is my first time I ever tried to even look into this sport. So, but I was thinking a lot about Morocco, and even before, like I said in my video today, I said, Morocco I knew they were going to lose. I didn't make a video about it, but before the game even played, I knew Netherlands was most likely going to lose because I saw the 32 code, and I guess I'll just show that real fast, just in case people didn't see my decode. But yeah, the 32 code goes back to Sirius, which is why I believe America. Rambo talked about this a lot last week with the America and the Heliacal Rising, and just the Sirius United States being founded. But this was the big thing I noticed, that even before the game, like I said, maybe I should have made a video about it before the game and told more people so that I would have that documented. But actually, I did actually make a comment and a post on X just hours before the game, and I said somebody had mentioned that Japan had picked up or had stayed on 32 total points in their World Cup history, and I commented and said, well, you just wait till you see what's happening with the Netherlands. And somebody said, well, aren't you on the Netherlands? Because somebody had been watching my videos, I guess, on X, and he commented and said, aren't you on Netherlands? And I said, well, I was until they drew Morocco in the round of 32, exactly 32 years after they first played each other, the year Brazil won, which equals 32. and Brazil had just beat Japan a little few hours before that, and Japan stayed on 32 points. So I was like, this has to be, they're not going to win this game. And that's not, of course, that's not what happened, that's what happened. But check this out. So 1994, 32 years ago in America, which equals 32, Brazil knocked out Netherlands 3-2. And who did they play that year for the first time on the exactly 32 years later or before was June 29th, 1994. Morocco and Netherlands played exactly 32 years to the day. And again, right after, so Netherlands actually beat Morocco that year, but this year, the revenge, Morocco got their revenge 32 years later. And so, but just the days after that on July, this is why I'm watching July 9th games. There's going to be a game on July 9th. There's also going to be, I think there's a huge clue just in the bracket of this World Cup as to what's going to happen in this World Cup. Because you obviously had them pay tribute to this Morocco-Netherlands game 32 years later. That was the huge, if anything, I was on point about how important the Netherlands was going to be to this round of 32 because their game was the most symbolic video or a game of this World Cup round of 32. The Morocco-Netherlands game, it was arguably the most competitive. A lot of people argued that these two teams shouldn't have drew each other so early because both these teams could have made it way farther and played way later in the tournament. But so they did lose, but again, look at Brazil. They beat them 3-2 right after they beat Morocco in 1994. But then what did Brazil do? Brazil went on to win the World Cup in penalties 3-2. And what did Morocco just do to Netherlands? They just beat them in penalties 3-2. I mean, and that was on the same day Brazil beat Japan, who was in the same group as the Netherlands. And notice the score, 2-1, Netherlands 2-1. And what did Brazil beat Japan by? 2-1. So it was just a reversal is all it was. And but this is what really solidified it for me before the game. I had seen all this before the game. Except for the Atlas Lions bar, I did not know Atlas Lions equals 32. If I would have saw that, I would have been even more on Morocco. But so yeah, exactly 32 years to the day. Mar equals 32. And as soon as I saw the Mar stuff, I also knew it was over because Mar means sea, of course, but also has kind of connections with probably Mary. But Mars, there was actually a Mars riddle with this game in Netherlands. There was like exactly 7 Martian years from something. I can't remember what it was now, but there was a Mars riddle as well. But so Mar equals 32, and so does Leo. So just to preface this, Leo equals Mar. And pretty much all ciphers. But the 32 is a standout one here. And their name is the Atlas Lions, which equals 32. And they're going to win 32 years to the day. And what was crazy about this is the governor of the state. So I forgot to mention, this took place in the state of Nuevo León. And the governor of this state was literally, like, you got to go on his Instagram. I'm not going to pull it up here, but he was literally walking around all week in a Netherlands jersey. The governor of this state, walking around all week in an orange Netherlands jersey, made a hype video, even got on the orange bus for the Netherlands fans as they entered into Mexico and rode with them on their orange bus. But the key was, on the day of the game, he came wearing red. So all week he was like all over, like wearing the orange jersey. And the reason these two teams played when they did is because the state is called New Lion. So the name of the state literally means New Lion. And both teams were the Lions. He posted a hype video on his Instagram calling this the Battle of the Lions, right? This is a tribute to Pope Leo, obviously, 100%. But so Morocco actually has 2 lions on their symbol. Another thing crazy about this is the flag of Nuevo, I always struggle saying it, Nuevo Leon has an orange tree and a lion. And so, like, when I saw this, I was like, what in the heck? Of course, Netherlands is going to be playing. Their symbol is literally a lion rampant, which is what's on this logo. It's a rampant lion. And here's an orange tree. So, I mean, it's just wild how it ended up playing out. But this ended up being the end of their road, right? And I think it's kind of symbolic. They had to go down south, like to the Netherlands, like Mexico is the Netherland of the United States. And they had to lose. Like, they did so well in the United States, but as soon as they went south in what seems to be their own home country with the orange tree and the lion, they lost to the other lions. And but yeah, Sabari. So it's even so scripted to this point. Saibari, who scored the last goal, his name equals 32, and he made this. He won the game for them on penalties, 3-2, and this was exactly 32 weeks after Morocco's Independence Day. And also, it was exactly 32 because their flag was adopted one day before their Independence Day, so it was also 32 weeks exactly after their flag was adopted, which has the star, which I believe is Sirius, which is also why I kind of in the last few days, I was really quiet, and I knew my bet was going to, not my bet, but my prediction was going to fail. Like, as soon as they drew Morocco, as soon as I saw the 32s, I for 3 days before the game, I pretty much knew. But a lot of this stuff I didn't find until closer towards game time, but this I found after the flag part. But again, Sirius, 32, they got the star on their flag. And what else? They even came into the game with a 32-game unbeaten streak, Morocco, which is so they are literally the hottest team of all soccer teams. And Netherlands, honestly, Netherlands is unbeaten in regulation in full time in a World Cup game since 2006, and they still are. They're going to go into 2030 World Cup unbeaten in a full-time game, which just means in the first 90 minutes since 2006, which was actually the Battle of Nuremberg. And I brought that up in my last decode. They have not lost since they lost to Portugal in the Battle of Nuremberg in 2006 in a full-time game. So both teams came in with these records, and both teams actually walked away with both these records still intact. But yeah, that's basically what I had on the 32. But I sometimes in this especially in the sports stuff, you have to take it a game at a time. And obviously, I came in with this. I tried to do this decode about who would win well before the cup even started, and I would have had no idea they would have drawn Morocco in the first round. If I would have known all this, of course, I would have probably never said they'd win because, again, the 32s. I don't see anyone can deny this. 32 years to the day? Are you kidding me? 32 years to the day they first played each other. And then Brazil goes on to win that World Cup by a penalty of 3-2, which is what they lost by. So, and then let me just tell you how weird this is with me is, so the Netherlands player, KODI Gakpo, and again, when I first started decoding Netherlands, RAMBO had originally told me that there was a player on Netherlands called KODI Gakpo. That was a month or two ago.
Yeah, he's also on Liverpool, which is the team that Andy Robertson plays for.
Right. Yeah, that's the original reason you told me that was that I had brought up Robertson, and you had told me that he actually plays with a guy named KODI, and so that was the original time you told me about him. But I didn't even remember that when I started looking into Netherlands. I had even forgotten that KODI Gakpo was on Netherlands. I didn't know I was decoding a team whose guy, and how many KODIs are there? Even in soccer, I mean, I don't think there's another one. I mean, maybe there is somewhere, but especially one that's on the premier teams or starting. There's not another KODI in the World Cup, I'm pretty sure.
I can't think of any.
So this is what's just weird about it all. So you guys know I follow Cody Rhodes in wrestling, and my whole I get some on my birthday this year. I'm not going to go into details, but on my birthday this year, they scheduled a match on my birthday, Cody Rhodes to defend his title against Gunther, the Austrian. And of course, I'm literally living on the border of Austria, very close. And they don't do this. They don't normally schedule title matches on just a normal episode of SmackDown on Friday. But they on my birthday, on the day Andy Robertson led Scotland, also, they scheduled Cody Rhodes to face Gunther. I thought that was weird, and I had an even crazier sync with that, which I won't go into the numbers. But then 11 days later was this game, Netherlands. So 11 days after my birthday. Well, guess whose birthday is 11 days after my birthday? Cody Rhodes. And right before the game, a few days before, Cody Gakpo announced they had lost his child. Well, this is at the same time that Cody Rhodes lost his title. And it was a shocking defeat. In Saudi Arabia, Cody Rhodes lost his title to the Syrian, who I've mentioned before in connection with, after Cody Rhodes won the championship at WrestleMania 40 a few years ago, he was on the shoulders of a Syrian, Sami Zayn, whose chant when he comes out in his entrance is ole, 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 which is a soccer thing. And Sami Zayn has been in the WWE for over 10 years, and he's one of the ultimate underdogs, they call him. He's never sniffed the title before. He 10 times he had tried for a world title, and 10 times he had lost. But in Saudi Arabia on June 27th, he miraculously beat Cody Rhodes and took Cody's title. And the same day, Cody Gakpo announces he lost his child. Lost his title, lost his child. Both Codys, right? And then only fitting that the universe would make it that Cody loses his, in a way, I'm not saying I'm losing my reputation, but it's kind of a humbling experience for me. You know, I put a lot into the Netherlands. But just 3 days later, on Cody Rhodes' birthday, my Netherlands thing fails as Cody Gakpo scores the only goal for Netherlands. Number 11 days after my birthday, on Cody Rhodes' birthday. Because in Europe, I was watching this. It wasn't actually on Cody Rhodes' birthday, the game in the United States, but in Europe, it was on his birthday. I was watching the game on Cody Rhodes' birthday, 11 days after my birthday. And Cody Gakpo scores the only goal, number 11. I mean, what kind of reality is this sometimes? Like, I just want people to think about the odds of that. I mean, there's only one Cody in the World Cup. I did not intentionally go on Netherlands because there was a Cody on there. That was not the reason I was decoding Netherlands. And I did not plan them to schedule a match against Cody Rhodes on my birthday. I also did not plan for Cody Gakpo to lose his child and Cody Rhodes to lose his title the same day. I did not plan for any of that. And I don't think the elites, I don't know if the elites did either. Are they watching my channel and messing with me? I don't think so. I mean, am I that important to this? I don't know. Is it just because I did do a video and pointed this stuff out? These kind of things I have to question because, again, and then who won the game? Number 11, Saibari. The whole game was about number 32, but it was also about 11, and it was 11 days after my birthday. And Saibari's the one who put the game away. And both teams remained on 11 losses all time in the World Cup as well. And the Netherlands dialing code is 31, which is the 11 prime. There's a lot of 11s. So that's my gist on everything that happened and just kind of clearing the air for people who didn't see my already posted video. But you guys can look into the Cody Gakpo stuff. He's been all over X and social media the last few days anyway, because people are praising him for still playing after he lost his child. And then scoring a goal. And of course, you know, his whole team somebody in the chat had said, you know, it was easy money. I guess it's somebody who bet on Cody Gakpo to score because it was easy money that he was going to score after that announcement. And, you know, I wasn't surprised either. You know, it's ridiculous, really. I mean, the team even had to come over and all gather around him as he cried. And, you know, I don't know what to make of it, but I think that's all I have on that. Just to quickly, I'm not going to be on here too much longer, probably about 10 more minutes, but I just wanted to get that in here and clarify some things. And just to go with the Morocco thing real fast, the riddle for Morocco is interesting. You know, there is the final is technically taking place not in New York, but it is in the New York area, and the new mayor of New York is who? He's a Muslim. And again, not to overstate the fact that we just got the first ever Muslim world WWE undisputed champion, Sami Zayn, on this same time that this Muslim country moves through, and they are definitely the toughest and most likely Muslim country to have a chance to reach the World Cup final. But yeah, Saibari, you know. Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention is Saibari plays for the Netherlands team in his league. And in fact, the Netherlands has a lot of players that go back and forth between Netherlands and Morocco. So there's a huge history there, which I also didn't research. If I had known that, also I would have been able to catch more. But he plays for Eindhoven in the Netherlands league. So so a Netherlands player who plays in the Netherlands scored the dagger goal against Netherlands. It's just can't write it any better. But anyway, what I was saying about Saibari, the Muslim nation, they haven't lost in 33 games now. I mean, they're definitely the hottest team. And just think about it, you know, New York just having an Islamic mayor, Zoran Mamdani. Are they going to do something like that? You know, put an Islamic nation against, I mean, imagine them putting it against the Messi. Imagine Morocco going against the Messi. You got like basically like Jesus and in Islam going against each other. Like it would just be, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just throwing around new ideas. And one other quick thing about the final, Norway. They put the Norwegian player to touch the ball last in the Nike video after he waited like a predator. The rest, like the way they presented Holland in the Nike video was like a predator ready to strike. And yeah, so he wears number 9, and of course they had Channing Tatum also wearing number 9 next to him. But interestingly enough, if Norway was to win the rest of their games, they'd have to win. They can't win any of these games in penalties or extra time, because then you get a draw, technically, on your record. But if they win, they would have 9 World Cup wins. If they win the World Cup, they would have 9 World Cup wins, and they would become the 9th team to win the World Cup. And they would be led by number 9, Holland. And an interesting thing to watch for the next game between Norway and Brazil is the 2 stars of Norway and Brazil are, of course, Vinicius and Holland. And guess how many days they're born apart, which is actually crazy. Holland and Vinicius are born 9 days apart. So, and they're the next teams to play. And that's the kind of question I think we need to ask ourselves for the World Cup now is, does the 9th team become, like, is there a 9th team that wins it? Because it's the 23rd World Cup and 23 is the 9th prime? Or is it a repeat, like Argentina or Brazil? That's the question I'm asking myself. That's what I'm really focusing on now and trying to understand. But that's just what I'm seeing now and just kind of giving my observations.
Michael Jordan wore number 9 for Team USA at the Olympics. So 9 is another number that Michael Jordan won.
Yeah, okay, I didn't know that. Well, I mean, it makes sense because he wore 23 and 9, so, but I didn't know he wore 9 too. Wow.
Yeah, for the Olympic team, yeah.
Also, Rambo, you had the gematria of Sirius up there earlier. I wanted to show you something very interesting about Michael Jordan's age on the World Cup final. And I think it's not a coincidence. Maybe it is, but maybe it's not. But if you measure from his birth, Michael Jordan, to the World Cup final date, it's 33091. 3391 is the 478th prime. Sirius equals 478.
Wow.
So I mean, what's the odds of that? I mean, you've already proven. I mean, you've already proven 100 times over Michael Jordan and Sirius. But I mean, what's the odds on the World Cup? His age breaks down to 478, which is a number I look for because I know it's the gematria. I look for this number in specific connection to Sirius. So that is interesting.
Yeah, that's amazing. So that's the thing. Like, I don't see how the final will not have anything to do with Jordan. Surely, it has to have something to do with Michael Jordan. Of course, the most direct connection is Brazil because they wear Air Jordan. But is it that direct? Who knows?
It's very hard to go against Brazil at this point. I mean, it especially after what I just showed with the 32s. I mean, and what you've already mentioned with them wearing Jordan and you know, all that other stuff. But you know, this Norway thing's going to be interesting because they're playing Norway next, so we'll see which one. The Holland thing is, in my opinion, Norway getting their 9 wins to become the 9th champion is less likely than Brazil winning it, obviously. But those are 2 of options I'm throwing out there. But also, with Vinicius and Holland being born 9 days apart, I just think there's kind of going to be a clue there as well with this game. I think, actually, I even forgot to mention, this game is in between Norway and Brazil is actually in the stadium the final's in. So yeah, I mean, and I think it's the last game that's in this stadium before the final. So that's also another interesting. It almost makes me think that one of these 2 teams will be in the final, whoever wins it. Another interesting fact that somebody on X pointed out is that whoever beats Japan in a knockout round, the team that beats Japan goes on to get beat by the next team. So whoever beats the team that beats Japan always goes to the World Cup and wins it, I think. Maybe they don't always win it, but at least goes to the World Cup.
You
so
know,
I don't know if you guys
yeah, well, it's funny you mentioned the Japan thing as well, because I was thinking more about this dog symbolism, especially because last week we were talking about the fatal shooting, right, of Jameson the dog.
Right,
and that took place in Los Angeles, even though the dog was wearing a Knicks shirt, right? And when we think about Michael Jordan, he won his first championship against Los Angeles, against, I believe, Magic was on that team wearing number 32. You know, we got Sirius, which equals 32, just like Brazil. But then it also got me thinking about just the phrase "dog days of summer," right? And I just kind of looked that up really quick. You know, you think about the final is in the dog days of summer. It says here that in the Northern Hemisphere, this dog days of summer period lasts from July 3rd to August 11th. And then when you think about Japan, it makes me think of the Target dog that kind of looks like a Japan flag, doesn't it? You know, just white with the red dot in the middle. So I just kind of wanted to throw a couple of those things in there. Dog Days of Summer, Sirius the Dog Star, everything with Michael Jordan. You know, the dog death, who let the dogs out, the Knicks, all that kind of stuff.
And as you were saying this, I had to share this with you. I forgot about this, but Cooper Flag was at the game today.
Oh, geez.
32, Cooper Flag at the game. Your dog's name is Cooper. and think about it. He's at the game for the round of 32. He was wearing a 32 necklace even. I mean, how much more obvious can they make this stuff? I mean, he was at the game 192 days after his birthday. You know what that is, right?
192, no.
That's his gematria. Cooper Flag equals 192.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. I didn't know what that off rip.
He's at the game 192 days after his birthday, wearing the 32 necklace. Cooper Flag equals 192. But yeah, I tried to pull it up, but I guess this picture's been taken down or something.
Well, and think about, you know, the stuff that Rambo's talked about with Cleveland and the dog symbolism, and what was it, Rambo? The fan peeing on like a Cleveland Browns flag or something like that. I say that because, you know, there's a couple main things when you think about dogs, right? You think about, we talked about the skull and bone symbolism last week, right? How Jameson equals 322 and all these connections with who let the dogs out, etc. But when you think of dogs, you can think of they love their bones, peeing on fire hydrants. There's another water connection. Then also their water bowls, right? You always want to make sure that their water bowls are filled. So there really is a lot of water connections just with the dog too.
Yeah, and Sirius being connected with the flooding of the Nile, right? So
there you go.
Yeah, and in my video I mentioned how the star on the the star on the Morocco flag, I just thought it was all about Sirius because they just have the one star on there, and it's, to me, that's because also the Unir or the Seer religion, which is actually part of Senegal, and they're in the World Cup with one star also on their flag. So is Ghana, and I just realized that Zoran Mamdani is from Ghana.
No, so he's from Uganda.
Oh, Uganda, okay.
But
his parents are Uganda.
Yeah, so his parents are so his family originated in India, but emigrated to Uganda.
Okay.
So they became Ugandan, and then he was born in Uganda, and then moved to the United States. So he has dual citizenship. I put on the whole underdog theme, where he's the underdog, and the superhero underdog has the U on his chest. Remember I talked about the Subway sandwich throwing thing incident on U Street in Washington, D.C. So the two countries Mamdani's from both start with the letter U. That's why he's underdog. That's one of the strongest clues I realized when everybody is, the West is going to win the NBA. Whoever comes out of the West is going to win it. No, when I saw the whole connection with Men in Black and how, the alien, moniker that's given to the biggest star, the San Antonio Spurs, and the fact that they actually did a Men in Black, the Spurs have done it and they reprised it for this year. Men in Black theme. When you look at the beginning of Men in Black, how the green and yellow van is headed towards New York City. And then I was thinking, well, who's the mayor of New York City right now? It's the underdog. He's the biggest underdog story across the board. I can't think of a bigger underdog story in the last 2 years. So it's all about the underdog. But he's from Uganda and the United States. Both countries that he had dual citizenship of have the U, just like Underdog, the superhero cartoon dog with the U on his chest. But the reason you're connecting him to Ghana is because there's somebody he's known as the father of Pan-Africanism. Africa, of course, was colonized by Europeans. And one of the leaders of the African independence movements was Kwame Nkrumah. He's a very big figure in African history. And he's from Ghana. Zoran Mamdani, his middle name is named after Kwame Nkrumah, who's the Ghanaian father of Pan-Africanism, who led the...
Yeah, okay, I see it here now. That's what I had read. For some reason, I conflated those when I was reading his profile. I saw Ghana, but then I saw Uganda too, but for some reason, I thought he was from Ghana. But you're right. I'm reading the Wikipedia now. It says he's named after this guy you just mentioned here.
That's the Ghana connection that he has. But I would say if you're just looking, if you're not going by codes, and even though there is a thread as well on just sheer talent, France is head and shoulders above everybody else. Maybe Argentina could challenge France. France just looks unstoppable. They're too talented. They might have some weaknesses at fullback area, so maybe you can score against them. France looks, and everybody expected this, and so far they've played exactly like everybody thought they would. They're the overwhelming favorites right now. It's the way they've played. Brazil played France right now. I mean, Brazil would be underdog against France.
There could be a duality thing there too, right? With Wemby going down the finals, from France. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fred Flintstone says, "What's France's narrative?" That's just my 2 cents. I mean, it could be as simple as that.
I mean,
Wemby from France making it, having his breakout season, going to the finals, losing, and then his hometown country or his home country, winning the World Cup.
Well, yeah, maybe there's a reversal, because one of the big reasons I was on Netherlands was because the Dutch, the Knicks literally got their name from Dutch people. They got their colors and their name from Dutch. So that's one of the reasons and they won the championship after I already started talking about Netherlands. So I was like, okay, this must be a clue. I might be on the right path. I mean, what else am I supposed to think? The Knickerbockers literally comes from a Dutch, what was his name? Washington Irving. Kind of inspired that, and so that was the reason I was on the Netherlands, with the orange and blue and the clear Dutch connection, 100% Dutch connection. New York is on Dutch territory, or old Dutch territory, but I mean, I wonder if it's going to be reversal again. Wemby, the French guy, lost, but now the French are going to win. Like I noticed they do that. They'll do one pattern, and then it'll be switched back up for the next the next time.
Yeah, because his team won the Champions League, the European Champions League, which is the Super Bowl of soccer, which is every year.
Right, yeah.
That's not, all these celebrities attached to teams, like, apparently Taylor Swift and Sydney Sweeney are Knicks fans. I mean, come on. Or politicians, they'll run for office, then they'll say they're fans of the local team, but they never went to games. They grew up in that state or that city. How come you never went to? Now you're running for office and you're like the biggest fan. Hillary Clinton's a Yankee fan. I mean, it wants to be New York. No. Victor Wembanyama really is a PSG fan. They're the only club team who wears Air Jordan, which is why, after they won one, I figured because the Jordan thing had been going, I was on PSG since they had the Jordan connection. They've won one Champions League. I said, if they're the Jordan team, Jordan's known for three-peating. What just happened? They won their second in a row. What do you think is going to happen next year? PSG with the Air Jordan? You think they won't three-peat? I don't know. They look on track. But so Wembanyama,
once again, you heard it here first.
Thanks. they're going to three-peat. They wear the Jordan. So Wembanyama's team in soccer is Paris Saint-Germain, who's by far the best soccer team. Nobody disputes that. That's how super talented they are. So that's not really a stretch to say that they win it, but the Jordan connection. He grew up in the neighborhood of the team. He went to games as a kid. So he's not one of those fake celebrities who they do it for marketing reasons. It's not even their decision. They're told to do it. I want you to identify with team. They want you to take photos of a star player. So they have you guys introduce yourselves to each other so that you're associated with the team. They're not really organic friends. It's not like that. He really is a fan of that team. He went to the stadium as a kid. He had his victory in the Champions League when they defeated Arsenal of England, which is Zohar Mamdani's favorite team. I believe the game was they won in it was an extra time. I can't remember how that final finished. Or was it penalties? That's right. It went to penalties. Yeah. So it was a 1-1 tie, which I figured Mamdani and Wembanyama are going to go 1-1 because that was the score of the Champions League. That's Arsenal are Zohar Mamdani's team. And again, that's not a celebrity thing. He really is an Arsenal fan, an Arsenal legend named Ian Wright. When Mamdani won the mayoral election, sent him a personal video congratulating him. That's from Ian Wright, a legend of Arsenal Football Club. So he's very associated with Arsenal. So Arsenal versus PSG in the Champions League final was Zohar Mamdani versus Victor Wembanyama. Now, Victor Wembanyama is going to Zohar Mamdani's city. I said, because the Champions League was 1-1, it's going to be 1-1 because Wembanyama had a 1-0 lead after the Champions League. PSG, his team won. Now you're going to Mamdani's city. The Champions League was 1-1. It's going to be tied up at 1-1, which it was when the Knicks won 1-1. So you know how I was saying they alternate? So Wembanyama had his victory in the Champions League with PSG, then his loss in the NBA finals. Then he might have his victory in the World Cup final. To me, it looks like, just going by all the symbolism, Brazil France, is from what I see. And so I still have a decode to do on the movie Him and how it ties into the World Cup. And I have a narrative based on the movie Him for France to win it.
Well, Rambo, just something I hit on. I'm gonna get off here in like 2 minutes, but while you're on this, something I hit on while I was researching the Netherlands that happened on the day Oliver Tree died. I don't know if you caught me if I even mentioned this during one of our streams, but you could be just right dead on, because remember, on Trump's birthday, there was the UFC White House, and who got knocked out and who knocked him out. Did I tell you this yet?
I don't think I don't. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Okay, so the main event, there was 2 main events to the UFC White House. One of them was a French boxer, and one of them was a Brazilian boxer or fighter. And guess who knocked out the Brazilian? The French guy. The French guy knocked out the Brazilian. So, I mean, that I remember mentioning that during my stream, but I was like really focusing on other riddles. But that was one riddle that really stood out to me. I mean, what's the odds? You know, you've got, of course, we know Trump is super important to this riddle. I mean, it's Trump, and it's on his birthday. It was the first ever time you had an event at the White House. Trump is supposedly supposed to be handing out the trophy, or they want him to hand out the trophy to the winner. So, yeah, that's just something to put on your notes for that matchup, because maybe looking into those two fighters as well and seeing if there's any connections between. I don't remember what their names were now, but I know they were French and Brazilian.
Yeah, well, that's a great connection. I didn't know that. Yes, that does tie in. That's a great connection. But yeah, so yeah, I have a different thread, obviously, the way I'm looking at it, how it looks like France and Brazil. But remember how they emphasized 53 so much at the NBA Finals. It was all about 53. 53 was just all over the whole thing. Even Chipotle got involved there. 53,000 giveaway burritos. And the famous Hollywood Disney franchise of Herbie, the Volkswagen Beetle, named Herbie. A little underdog beetle who wins all these races. There's a whole franchise. They did like 3 Herbies. It's an entire franchise. And Herbie has number 53. And I explained why they gave him 53, because the chariot is 53. It's all about the chariot, even in French, because France is very relevant here. Herbie is white with red and blue stripes, which of course are Freemason colors. Blue Lodge, White Lodge, and Red Lodge, which they get from ancient Egypt. The red crown, white crown, and blue crown of the pharaohs in ancient Egypt. That's where it comes from, but still, there are a lot of red, white, and blues. Herbie, the Volkswagen Beetle, is number 53. From the chariot is 53. That's in the Pythagorean cipher. But in ordinal, in French, the chariot from the tarot is Le Chariot, which is 53 also. That's the number of the chariot. It's on Herbie. It's a Volkswagen Beetle. What's the logo of Volkswagen? VW. VW has sponsored 3 teams in the World Cup. United States, Germany. I can't remember the other team. But they are a sponsor at the World Cup for some teams. But look at those initials for Volkswagen, VW. Whose initials are those? Victor Wembanyama. And the Volkswagen Beetle, Victor Wembanyama, number 53. And 53, the Spurs 53-year-olds, the Knicks had one in 53. Brunson, the MVP, his father was 53 years old. Had they clinched it, the Knicks clinched Game 5 on June 13th. His father, again, you're talking about June 14th with the whole thing. His father would turn 54 years old on June 14th. The Knicks had to clinch in Game 5 for the whole 50 because of the 53, which is all over it. Jalen Brunson's father, Rick Brunson, who's an assistant coach for the Knicks, Jalen Brunson being the finals MVP, his father, his very last day of being 53 years old was June 13th. They had to clinch that day. You're not going to wait another day when he turns 54. It's all about 53. So it's all over that. Brazil, hypothetically, Brazil and France. I know what it's like. We're really on these decodes. It sounds convincing. I'm kind of afraid to double down on this now, because then I'm going to come back and like, oh yeah, I see the riddle now. But regardless, how many World Cups has Brazil won? 5, a record 5. How many has France won? 2. What would happen? Yeah, you know what I'm getting at. What would happen if Brazil would play France and France would win? It will be 5-3.
Very interesting. Yeah, and the other thing too, without hopefully stealing any thunder, I don't think I will here, especially since you haven't completed the. You've finished the decode. Now it's about the presentation part for the him movie. But you mentioned kind of that father-son connection with Jalen Brunson and Rick Brunson. There's absolutely a father-son theme of the movie him. I'll just leave it there with that.
Absolutely.
But also, the grand finale at the very end when everything goes down. I'll just leave it here with this as we kind of wrap things up tonight. Isn't it like fireworks, or there's like these kind of booms of like different colored smoke, which is that red, white, and blue, which from what I remember in watching the movie, it kind of more signaled towards like USA kind of vibes, at least in the movie. But when you kind of had me starting thinking more about potentially for France, maybe that's another symbolic kind of tribute there too at the end of the movie.
Yes, you did steal my thunder, because that is part of the decode. No, that's good though.
Well,
no, that's good. It shows you're locked in on the decode. It shows that was one of the central themes of. So the decode deals with a lot of stuff, mostly the Christ symbolism.
Right.
But I also have a little bit more in my presentation, just a little bit to end it. But that was going to be the main like visual of it, and you hit right on it. Now, what I will show you, I might as well say it now. What you're describing is not fireworks. At the end of the movie, it's 3 Air Force fighter jets. Air Force fighter jets. They
fly overhead, right?
It's even in the trailers. It's on the trailers. They fly overhead, and they all release that red, white, and blue. So it's 3. You talk about the number 3. They tell you it's about Freemasonry. They literally tell you that in the movie. You'll see it in my.
Right.
They tell. I guess you know what I'm talking about, right? You've seen it, right?
I do.
They tell you. They pretty much flat out tell you. So I don't know. They get mad at me when I point it out, but they point it out themselves. I don't know why they're mad at me. Anyway, honestly, it's 3 fighter jets that go out across the sky, red, white, and blue smoke. So this is what I'm going to show in my video. The last time France won the World Cup, they won the 2018 World Cup in Russia. They had this massive celebration in Paris. There had to be 1 million people in the streets in Paris at the Champs-Élysées and the Arc de Triomphe. At that celebration, that's the last time that France won. That's the second World Cup, 2018. What did you have? You have to see this image. In the sky, above it, 3 fighter jets across the sky, shooting red, white, and blue smoke. So because I saw that image of the France celebration 2018, when I saw the movie Him, that's the first thing.
Oh wow!
The first thing I thought about. That is the exact image at France's celebration in 2018 when they won the world. That was it exactly. 3 fighter jets. I said that's it exactly. And now Him came out in 2025, so this is the first World Cup after that. So Him. It's about football, but if you can look it up, it's an. I don't know if we have time to look it, but it's going to be in my video. We might as well talk about it now. I don't mind you talking about it now because I don't even know. It's going to take forever to make the video. Might as well tell them now. It's that scene. You have to see the images. That is
okay.
So if you're familiar with that celebration, then you see the movie Him. It hits you right away. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's it. That's the image.
That's yep. Wow, I did not know.
If you look at the Him trailers, it's actually in the trailers where the planes go across. I said that looks just like it. So I think Him does point to France, not necessarily Brazil, but even to KODI. I have to give KODI a shout out because he's the one who mentioned how they. I'll just say it now. I might as well say it now. KODI mentioned how the gematria of the tower in the Latin cipher, the Agrippa cipher, how it comes out to the number of players in the World Cup, and they promoted that number. But honestly, what is the tower? I mean, there are many towers, but what is the tower? It's the Eiffel Tower. The Eiffel. When you think of the famous tower, I mean, the first tower that comes to mind is not the One World Trade Center. That's not the first tower. Like throughout history, what is the tower? It's the Eiffel Tower is the tower. That's another direct connection. It's the gematria of the tower.
This goes back to my Eiffel Tower decode. The Eiffel, they're doing the two flags this year and making an eye out of it. Sirius, the eye in the sky. The song right after that is Eye in the Sky. Like Sirius turns into Eye in the Sky. Eye in the Sky equals 56, like Paris, France. I mean, you know, always going back to that Jesuit thing with the 56 and Paris, France. And I mean, France winning, it just would be, I guess in a way it would be like the most mundane thing, but it does seem very logical. I mean, they do look like the best team. And so like, and just the symbolism that you just pointed out, especially with that. And then, like I said, the fighter at the White House on Trump's birthday winning by knockout. And I just checked, but these two fighters that fought on the White House on Trump's birthday, born 10 days apart. 10. And a number I actually mentioned many times because that's the gematria of revelation in Latin, 10. And again, who wears 10 on France? Mbappe. You know, Messi also wears 10. So a very important football with the players, the soccer players in 10. Yeah. So
another thing about the movie Him, it's about a veteran quarterback and a rookie quarterback. The veteran quarterback played by Damon Wayans.
Marlon
Wayans, sorry.
Yeah.
He does a great acting job. Like, you can say what you will about that movie. The ending is really ridiculous, but he does a great acting job. That is great acting.
I thought so too.
Yeah, he was a brilliant actor. That was great. He plays a character named Isaiah White, who wins 8 rings. He's won 8 Super Bowl rings. So he's the GOAT. Isaiah White's jersey number is 10. So one of the things I determined, and I'll give you some of this away. I'll give the reasons why. I believe that on an occulted level, the movie Him, there's certain people it refers to. So there's a list of people that they are referring to in that movie covertly, and I'll show why. One I think is completely undeniable: football players, but it also refers to, I think, on a covert level, to a soccer player, which is why I think France will win, and that's Kylian Mbappe. I believe that Him refers to Kylian Mbappe. In fact, I'll just leave it at that. I mean, time's almost up, but yeah, I think it refers to him, and I'll indicate why I think that. But they do wear 10, and Isaiah White, his jersey number is 10, the veteran quarterback in that movie.
Yeah, I totally forgot about the numbers that they were wearing. I know that they, that there was one big football player that died right before or right after the release date of that movie, and they had the jersey hanging there right before kind of the bigger rituals start. But anyways, it's, neither here nor there. We are at that 3-hour mark. But yeah, Rambo, I'm really excited to see that video once you do put it all together. That'll be exciting. But yeah, we might as well wrap it up here. We're almost right exactly at the 3-hour mark. So I'll just close out really quick by thanking everybody for tuning in tonight. As always, amazing contributions in the chat. You guys are always very informative and cordial and respectful, and we always really, really appreciate that. Make sure that you guys hit that like and subscribe and the share wherever you guys see fit on the way out. Really appreciate it. You guys can find my work here on YouTube, where we're streaming tonight, as well as Balll Don't Lie, 3 L's in Ball, on Instagram. So really appreciate everybody's time tonight. And KODI, I know it's getting really late or really early where you're at, so I'll let you kind of close things out and remind people where they can find you and support you.
Yeah, thank you again, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Rambo, and thank you, AJ. Appreciate you both, and I'm glad I was able to make this one. I was kind of up a bit late last night too, but I'm going to jump off here after this. But I thank you guys so much for being here, as always. And if you guys want to find me, Decoding with KODI on YouTube, and also buymeacoffee.com/decoding with Cody. And I appreciate everyone's support and love and understanding, you know, even after doing my best before the World Cup to see what I saw. And somebody in the chat did mention, you know, the House of Orange is named after somewhere in France, the Orange. So maybe I was on something with that and I just missed the team. And I'll have to go back and find that comment. But anyway, thank you guys so much, and look forward to next week.
Yeah, don't be so apologetic, Cody. Seriously, you do phenomenal work, and you make it very clear. You know, you're not a sports betting channel. Everything is just sharing observations. You know what I mean? So
I just have fun with it, you know, and I enjoyed learning about the history of the Netherlands and New York, and
that's the real value.
I learned
right
a lot.
there.
I learned a lot in this process, so I can't be. For me, it was I didn't lose anything from it. I spent a lot of time, yeah, but I learned a lot in this process, especially about. I know a lot about the Netherlands, so for the next World Cup, I already have a lot of stuff under my belt for that, at least. And then now I have time to look into other stuff as well. So I mean, it's just the only way you get better is by getting things wrong. So, and I think some people forget that. You know, sometimes you have to just try and get better. You know, so it's what I'm trying to do every day.
The wise words of Michael Jordan. You know, I've failed countless times in my life. That's why I succeed. So,
yeah.
But yeah, no, we love you, Cody, man. Thank you again so much for you know, what you do for this show, and it really means a lot, man. Get some rest, and I look forward to connecting with you again really soon.
Yeah, guys, have a good rest of the night. Much love to you both and everyone in the chat, and I'll see you guys next week.
All right, thanks.
Love you, Cody. We'll catch you soon, bud.
See ya.
Rambo, take us home, my friend.
So this is where I can be found. Patreon.com/thetruthcodes, 1 tier, $5. You have access to the Codebreaker community Discord server. I'm also on, and you can join for free too. You don't have to join for $5. And you can also, I'm also on Instagram.com/thetruthcodes.
We appreciate it, Rambo. Yeah, once again, I'm really excited to see what you got for the hymn video and presentation. I'm glad that you finally got around to it. And like you said earlier, I think the timing of you seeing it, I think, was how it should have been, especially with everything that's unfolding with the World Cup and whatnot. So really excited about that. As Rambo said, you didn't hear wrong. $5 a month, you guys. Not a day, not a week. He also has a free tier, so if you haven't signed up for that, at the very least, please make sure that you do so. Final reminder to hit that like and subscribe on the way out. We love you. We appreciate you guys very, very much, and we look forward to next week. Best night of the week. Take care, everybody.
All right. Good night, everybody. Take care.
The uranium, cranium, aliens popping up like circadians. Got me spontaneously training in a palladium gymnasium. Ultimate battle in the extraterrestrial stadium. It really just be the Mediterranean Transylvanians.